Let me get the attorney. Okay, everybody, we want to thank everybody for attending tonight's Russell County Board of Supervisor meeting, November the 3rd of 2025. County Administrator, will you do the call to order, please? Yes, Chairman. Andrew Hensley. Here. Luann Wallace.
Here.
Terry Dye.
Here.
Steve Breeding. Here. Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Nate Kaiser, unfortunately not be here due to scheduling, and David Eaton. Here. Sir, you have a quorum. Okay, everybody. If everybody would stand for the pledge and then and the invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we love you. We thank you. We praise you today, Father. Father, we thank you for allowing us to be a part of your local government. And Father, as we get to Election Day tomorrow, we thank you for allowing us to go out to the polls and vote, Father. Be with us, lead us, guide us, and direct us in everything that we do. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It looks like winter's beating on our door as the temperatures are dropping, so it's getting cooler out. We have some really important acknowledgments to make, and I'd like to thank Dean Lynch with VACO, the Executive Director of VACO. If he would come up, please. I'm sorry. Let's approve the agenda. Missed that one. Sorry, Dean.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye. Now, Dean, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. It's good to be back home in Russell County and to present Russell County with a VACO, Virginia Association of Counties Achievement Award. Again, I'm Dean Lynch, VACO Executive Director, and for the benefit of your constituents who may not be familiar with the Virginia Association of Counties, VACO has existed since 1934 to serve and support the efforts of you all as county officials. We support counties in many ways. First is through our advocacy efforts at the state legislature and through at the federal level. We also serve counties through our educational programs, member services, and communication efforts. In 2003, we established our Achievement Award program to recognize counties that have adopted innovative programs, providing public services that can be emulated by other counties around the state. And this is the 23rd Annual Achievement Award Program for VACO. This year we received a record 155 entries. And this is truly a competitive program in that not that many awards were given out. The VACO team goes out and presents these awards, and so far we've done 30 this year. And so that's, phenomenal for Russell County to receive an award. Our judges, we have 3 judges that rule and look at all these programs. And number one is that they look at is, does the program offer an innovative solution to a problem? Number 2, does the program promote intergovernmental cooperation? 3, does the program provide a model that other counties can emulate? And number 4, is the program an innovative approach or customization of local government? So congratulations on your winning program this year, and it's the Russell County Community Work Program, CWP. You may have some people here that work in the program, I think, but I'm going to tell you a little bit from what we know about the program. The Russell County Community Work Program was established in 2016 in hopes of saving the county on the rising cost of housing inmates at the regional jail. The CWP provides structure, accountability, and daily responsibilities. Program participants pay a monthly fee, agree to home checks, drug testing, and GPS monitoring while enrolled. The program director schedules projects for nonprofit organizations in Russell County, as well as projects for the county. The CWP provides litter pickup, painting for county offices and schools, and mowing throughout the county, as well as many other projects. The CWP has saved jail costs over $3 million and at a minimum wage rate. The CWP has performed close to $6 million of community service work for the county. This alternative sentencing program has been very successful and has helped participants struggling with addiction to remain sober and be a productive member of society. As the Russell County Community Work Program continues to grow and prove its success, we hope to continue to help other localities learn what can be done so that they can emulate this program. So congratulations on the program, the winning program, and I've got a plaque here. And if you don't mind, indulge me, I would love to have a photo that we can put in our VACO newsletter with the board.
Okay. Being said, I'd like to invite all those people that come up. I see judges. Also, I'd like to acknowledge I seen Senator Pillion came in. Thank you, Senator, for attending our meeting. But if all those that are involved in that program would please come up. And if you have any words you want to say, Missy, or Zach, or Judge Moore. Okay. If you all come on up, Senator.
Israel's here with
Okay, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to miss you, Israel. I didn't see you come in.
If you could give, Mr. Chairman, if you could
Yes,
give
go right.
just a minute.
Go right ahead.
So, it's not been, I don't think, Dean, you didn't mention it. Back in 2017, in the General Assembly session, when I was your delegate, we recognized Missy at that time, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars at that point. I think we're well past that in the savings that she's given back to Russell County. So one thing that we can always do in the General Assembly that's the most rewarding thing is to recognize people and entities that have done great things for the Commonwealth. And that is certainly something that this program has done for Russell County, and it's been emulated throughout Southwest Virginia and throughout the Commonwealth at this point, and we couldn't be prouder. Little did we know that, or we should have known, and back in 2017 when we honored you, that this would be record-breaking and groundbreaking for the entire Commonwealth. But we can't say enough thank yous for the work that you've done, and Delegate Quinn's here as well.
And thank you, Israel. I didn't mean to overlook you. I didn't see you come in. It's hard for me to see the corner, but thank you, sir.
That's quite all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board. We are excited to be able to be here tonight to commend this innovative program. A lot of times, y'all know this, in government, we're always looking for a win-win situation. And a lot of times, they're hard to come by. But this really is a win-win situation, and the program that the county has adopted, that the Commonwealth Attorney's Office has shepherded through, really is a tremendous win for the taxpayers of Russell County, and really is a model for the rest of the state. I know that there's been a lot of other programs that have followed suit, not only in Southwest Virginia, but around the Commonwealth. And so this is a very innovative and creative approach to what is a very complicated and expensive issue, as you all know. I know we're all grappling with the cost of housing inmates, and not to mention the cost of labor and everything else that goes with it. This really is a tremendous program, and you all have led the way for the Commonwealth of Virginia, and to be commended. And one of the best things that we can do in this job is commend people who do an outstanding job. And so Senator Pillion and I actually have a commendation from the state capitol offering our congratulations not only to the county, everyone in the county, but also to the Russell County Community Work Program. Dean's is fancier, but they...
Where's Dean been for the past 8 years? Come on, Dean.
So we'd like to present this to you, Missy, and thank you for all your hard work.
You guys mind if I say
No,
a word or two?
Judge Moore, sir.
So this program, have a seat, please. This program, the ideal came to us originally, really from Mark Mitchell, who was on the board then, and with the support of the entire board. And I was skeptical, honestly, how it would work. But the key to the program is the staff we have. Missy Carter runs a great program. Every county around us is trying to copy it, try to emulate it, and they can't really do it because they don't have a Missy. And then her staff, Hunter Hughes and Bob Gibson, they are great with the people that come through that program. They moved everyone to the new courthouse, the way they interact with these people they're in the program. They're supportive of them, they're encouraging them, but they require accountability. And it's a great program. The Commonwealth Attorney's Office is has been very supportive. He recommends people all the time to put in the program, which without that, we don't have a program. And then, of course, the judges, Judge Patton and I, were highly supportive of the program. It's an alternative to incarceration. So it's not just the savings, it's also the well-being of the people who are in the program. They get to go home to their families. Many of them have jobs after the work program. They are subject to drug screens. They work for our county. We've saved tons of money, but we've also enriched the lives of the people who are in the program. It's a great program, and you guys have been hugely supportive of it, and so I want to say thank you. Dean Lynch and I go way back. He was a juvenile probation officer when I was assistant Commonwealth attorney back in the late 80s, and he moved up. He did really well for himself going up. So, but Dean was a great probation officer, and I appreciate VACO recognizing us. So thank you guys, everyone who's helped.
I just want to say a few more words about the work program. Mark Mitchell, who Judge Moore mentioned, Judge Moore and Judge Patton. I don't know who the brainchild of this idea was, but it was a great idea. I know Mark Mitchell supported it on the Board of Supervisors, and the rest of the Board of Supervisors did, but we appreciate what he's done. Judge Moore, he always comes up with great ideas. And Judge Patton, who was the Commonwealth's attorney at the time, had the foresight to say, well, maybe we don't just need to put everyone in jail, which was a different approach back in 2017. I appreciate the Southwest delegation being here. Senator Pillion recognized this program back in 2017, back in its infancy, when it was savings of $100,000. And now we're looking at millions of dollars, which is crazy impressive. I appreciate Delegate O'Quinn being here tonight to recognize the program and its continued success. Bob Gibson and Hyder Hughes do a great job with these people. And they treat them like they should be treated, like human beings. Some of them have had issues to get them where they are, but our goal is to rehabilitate. And they do a great job treating them the way they do. And just to echo what Judge Moore said, Missy Carter is the key to this program. There have been a lot of copycats, and none have been as successful. When you look around this county, when you drive through this county and you see how clean it is, you can thank the participants and Missy Carter. They do a great job. She does more than what she's required. When you look at other counties, she's a recovery court coordinator and she's a work program coordinator. When you look at all the surrounding counties, that isn't one position. That is 2 positions, 3 positions. It's impressive what she's able to get done, and I think she should be recognized for that. And the most important thing about this program are the participants. And this program just isn't about saving money, which is great. I'm glad that that's happening. But what's more important is changing lives. And we've had participants in this program that have been hired by Russell County that are still working in Russell County today. And that's a change. We've had participants in this program that have opened businesses in Russell County based off the skills that they learned in the community work program. This is an awesome program, and I appreciate everyone's recognition for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I don't want to leave anybody. Missy,
Yeah.
you want to say?
Sure. Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. You know, I used to give Mark Mitchell credit for this program until I saw that Judge Patton and Judge Moore were involved in it. But it was a joint effort, and I'll have to say that's probably the best $75,000 that we've ever invested on the Board of Supervisors, and when you look at the return on it. But one of the added benefits that I see is, I guess, in the people that are involved in it. I think you've actually taught people how to work. There were some of those people on there didn't have the first idea how to run a weed eater or a lawnmower, but I think as the program went on, and I've seen some of them grow to the point that they understand the dignity associated with actually being productive and working. So, you know, that's just an added benefit. And I agree, without Missy, it's a completely different program. Thank you all.
Anybody else? We need to get a photo op with you guys, all the people that's involved in the program. If you would, please gather together. And Senator Pillion, Delegate Israel O'Quinn, Missy, and Zach, and Mark. And one thing I would like to say, I served with Mark on the board, and I'll never forget the time that he approached with Judge Moore, and Judge Patton approached us with this ideal concept. I'm thankful that they had the vision to do this because it's paying great dividends.
Balance it out a little bit.
Thank you, guys.
I should have said you were sitting right here.
Yeah, you were.
Take care, dear.
I still give you a lot of credit.
Listen, will you please forgive me when I left your place in? So much. Great idea. Well,
We're ahead of you, sir.
sorry. I'm sorry I left you a mess.
And more luck.
Okay, the next one, the next acknowledgement I guess we have on the list is the Cleveland Life Saving Crew and Water Rescue Team. It's a great honor. I wish you guys would just come on up if you would, and we'll let the chief of all chiefs, Maxie, speak. But you guys come up, because I definitely want to make sure that we acknowledge this. This has been a wonderful, wonderful thing that's took place in Russell County. Actually, they've got first place in the Rescue Call of the Year with the state championship. So let's give them a round of applause. And
Yeah, here comes the rest of them. She's got to get the whole crew up here.
you got everybody? Bring them all.
Get in here.
Now, first rescue call goes out. I better hurry it. I appreciate you all so much and your commitment in your first response operation. I know I was with a couple of Miss Wallace knows we were in Dane. Two of your members saved a lady's life. To me, that goes a long way. You all do a fantastic job. This is a certificate of accomplishment proudly presented to the Cleveland Life Saving Crew and Water Rescue Team for winning first place in Rescue Call of the Year at the state championship. And I'd like to give this to you. And thank you so much.
Speech, Maxie.
I want to thank every one of my members that's here, all the members that's not here tonight that couldn't be with us. Thank you all for your support. We are totally volunteer. We don't charge nobody for nothing that we do. And we just appreciate everything and everybody does for us, and please pray for us.
Yes. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Wow, we could just about go ahead and adjourn after them two presentations. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you all again so much. Now we'll open it up. We have a public hearing in regards to the Commonwealth Energy Partners Solar Project. I'll open this public hearing up. If anybody has any comments or anything they would like to say, just come up to the podium, state your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes. You gonna do a presentation? Go ahead.
That's a tough act to follow, but we'll do our best. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Richard Wright, and I'm co-founder of Commonwealth Energy Partners.
CEP is a Virginia-based small business with a team of about 25 people living here in Virginia. In addition to our extended local consultants, we partner with landowners, communities, and customers to deliver projects that provide both economic and environmental benefits for our Commonwealth. We acknowledge that the quality of the actual final project can set a new standard in the market, one that we can be proud of and can be used as a positive example of quality solar here in Virginia. We want our landowner, community, and industry stakeholders to be enthusiastic about the outcome. We are committed to participate collaboratively and tirelessly with people doing work in our communities and act with integrity, respect, and humility to provide high-quality solutions for and in service of our partners. They continue to set the standard for our neighbors here, as well as the environment and our industry. As Virginians, we take that responsibility seriously. Virginia imports more electricity than any other state in the country, and these projects provide local, low-cost electricity that protects ratepayers and provides economic and environmental benefits to both the Commonwealth and Russell County. I very much personally enjoyed getting to spend time here in Russell County, getting to know the area, meeting many local residents and neighbors, as well as many of you here with the board and in the county office during this process. We have felt welcomed and heard, and we appreciate your engagement. Thank you. We also very much appreciate our partnership with the landowner, Stewart Land and Cattle Company. They have been operating for many generations and know their land well. Those land uses have evolved over time, so we carefully evaluated their property to determine how to balance a solar project with their existing operations, optimal use of the land, and ways to design a project that adds to the operation. As a team, we are really excited about how this combination of agriculture, timber, and other land uses, along with solar, set an example for a diverse land use case. We're grateful for our working relationship with Russell County, look forward to delivering a project you can be proud of and staying engaged well into the future. We ask that you support this project and bring its benefits to the landowners and community. Before I hand it over to for the project presentation, I would like to quickly introduce a few other members of our team who are here tonight. Thomas Williams, who has been serving as project manager for the duration. John Puvek with Gentry Locke, providing legal guidance. And in addition, we have several members of the landowner team here as well. Thank you again, and I'll pass it on to Thomas.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Evening, members of the board and Russell County community. Hope everyone's doing well. A couple things I just want to get out of the way here early on. This is only my second time presenting or speaking in a format like this, so do appreciate the board bearing with me. And the second thing being that last week I was down for the count pretty bad with a case of the flu, so if I have any bad voice cracks or otherwise get caught with my foot in my mouth, I'll blame that. So now that I got all my lame excuses out of the way, we can get started. I'd like to suggest we skip to the fourth slide, if possible. Y'all have heard enough about CEP and who we are. So starting here, I just want to level set on the project size and where we started and how we got where we currently are. We introduced the project to county staff in April of 2024 at 12 megawatts. And since then, we've received study results from APCO indicating that 12 megawatts isn't ideal on their system. And following, at our last presentation to the board in December, we were requesting permission to deliver up to those 12 megawatts that we had identified. Since then, APCO customers have been added into Virginia's shared solar program. And as a result, we've opted to downsize the project from 12 to 5 megawatts to give the project an opportunity to participate in that program and maximize the benefits the project can deliver to the county and to the community. See, you've gone ahead. That's perfect. It's right where I'm headed. So I just wanted to level set on, where we've been and where we are, how we got to where we are now. I know believe there's been some confusion in the past about what size project we're proposing. So the Rosedale Solar Farm, we are proposing up to 5 megawatts. It's a shared solar eligible community scale solar facility. Based on our land agreement with Stewart Land and Cattle, we have 440 total acres under study. We're interconnecting to an APCO distribution line on site. We anticipate construction to start in 2027 or to take place in 2027. There, as a distribution scale solar project, tapping into those distribution lines, there's no project substation required. And there was a great deal of work taken on both by Richard and Stewart Land and Cattle Company to evaluate all of their property in Russell County and understand the land that's not as productive for their operations, but still meets the criteria for a solar farm. And that's also, that meshes well with the surrounding, community. So a great deal of work went into that and resulted in a site with favorable site conditions. It's fairly isolated, and the existing slopes will screen the project well from any public rights of way or neighboring properties. And the last thing on that slide, just with site design around landscaping plan, we have committed to installing a 25-foot vegetative buffer around the project area and the project fence. So while there is significant geographic features that will screen the project, in addition to significant existing vegetation that will screen the project, we're committing to supplementing on top of that. So flipping ahead to this county map, this is a map that you all have seen before. Mainly just a locational reference for the county, showing the study boundary and the property area there on the eastern side in the Clifton community. Kind of a similar goal here on this screenshot on Google Earth, mainly just showing the proximity to the Southwest Virginia Community College, in addition to the proximity to the county line there in blue. Flipping ahead, this is a slide that I believe we've presented on before, but do just want to take an opportunity to pause here and to really focus on some of the work that went into identifying a good site that fits with the community. As you can see from these buffer lines, the properties to the east there are beyond 600 feet from the property boundary, and we've committed to a 75-foot property line setback. So, as the siting agreement states and as it mandates, we'd be essentially a minimum of 700 feet from any of those residents on the eastern side of the property. However, there's a large natural bluff there right as you come into the Clifton Farm property. So more realistically, any panel area or project area would be well over 1,000 feet from those residences. And that's just, that I know that the Mitchells who are present here today, they came to our community meeting. I understand that they have some very rational concerns about being able to see the project or, equipment from their property, which they moved here to escape development and things like that. So I just wanted to address that, and hopefully that alleviates some of their concerns. Flipping ahead, this is just a Google Street View image looking north up Old Highway 19 towards the project area. The project area is over there to the left, and the Mitchell's property is just there to the right. So as you can see, there is a very dense existing natural buffer along the road there. And if we flip to the next slide, this is actually, it's a little grainier. I took this photo back in September when I was here doing some community engagement work. It's a little grainier. My iPhone camera is not really up to par. But same point here, really just illustrating that there's good existing dense vegetative buffer that the project that will remain and be supplemented by the project. So moving to the next slide, just a little information here on the permitting process. Currently, we're requesting, pending the board's approval, we're requesting an approval of the siting agreement to allow us to move to the next stage of permitting, which would be with the state, if applicable, and subsequently from there, any federal permits. Although our site selection process is designed to, mitigate and prevent there being any need for those federal permits. Flipping to the next slide, just a little bit of information on construction, operation, and decommissioning. Construction, we anticipate to take roughly 9 to 12 months. There'd be approximately 20 to 25 personnel on site during peak construction activities. We don't anticipate any disruptive or cumbersome construction traffic along Old Highway 19 during that period. During operation, these projects are quiet, good neighbors. The only thing that emits any sound on these projects are the inverter equipment, which are responsible for collecting the electricity that the panels generate. And those inverters are operated at roughly a 40 to 50 hertz decibel level, which is equivalent to old school refrigerator hum, which won't be audible from any public rights of way or adjacent properties. And lastly, moving on to decommissioning, I know this is a big topic of discussion and one that's really important for these projects and something that's especially important with respect to protecting the county and the landowner. So in this case, with decommissioning, we would be removing any and all equipment from the site. As part of the siting agreement, we've committed to disposing of all of that equipment outside of the county. And a decommissioning bond is required by the siting agreement and is updated on a 5-year basis. And the project is solely responsible for posting that decommissioning bond. And it's also required to be posted in full prior to final site plan approval. So no substantial work can be done on the site until that decommissioning bond is posted, just to fully protect the county and the landowner from any damages that might occur to the project. Moving to the next slide, I believe this is actually a slide pretty much verbatim, at least the image New Leaf presented on last month as well. And this slide is really here just to illustrate that.
Next slide.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, so I believe New Leaf had a very, very similar slide. And really here just to illustrate that these panels are over 80% by weight aluminum and glass, which are two of the most common elements out there. And there are some precious metals that exist within the fuel cell or the EV cell itself, which is responsible for converting that thermal sunlight energy into electric energy. But everything within a panel exists within a solid state. So under any damages, nothing will be leaching out or spilling. And the project it's always in the project's best interest to replace any equipment that's not operating optimally. And just speaking to some of the precious metals that exist within these panels, there is lead soldering in some of the electrical fusing. But to put some of that in perspective, I realize we're still a few weeks from open firearm deer season here in mid-November, but it's half the lead of a 12 gauge shotgun shell, just to put that in perspective per panel. And they are designed to withstand serious weather events. I know we have y'all have a lot of those down here in Russell County with wind and hail. So these panels most panels have a 25-year warranty from the manufacturer, and they're built to withstand these tough conditions. Flipping over to the next slide, just a little bit of information here on domestic manufacturing. We get a lot of questions about where panels for our projects are coming from, or are going to come from. And, you know, this is fairly self-descriptive, but manufacturing domestically has outpaced demand domestically for the first time last year. And with the tariffs that have been in place since 2012, in addition to tariffs from the current administration, it's going to be very difficult to get solar panels from anywhere but the United States. So hopefully we can put some concerns there to rest. Flipping to the next slide, a little bit more project specific here on some of the economic benefits. The main takeaway here being that, you know, this bar on the right at, you know, we're projecting roughly $1.2 million in county revenue over the 40-year lifespan of the project. And that's compared to $180,000 without solar. It's roughly a 7-fold increase. And that's a fairly conservative estimate, given that the way the siting agreement is structured, it's the same way New Leaf's agreement was structured, giving the greater of M&T or rev share for tax purposes. And this estimate was produced with just revenue share, which is essentially that $1,400 per megawatt floor. So in all accounts, revenue generated to the county from the project would likely exceed $1.2 million. And this also doesn't take into account, you know, some of the trickle-down economic benefits from increased revenue to hotels and restaurants and other businesses during construction. And you know, one thing I do want to touch on this page on economics, and I believe I mentioned it earlier, but at the 5 megawatt project size, we are eligible for APCO's shared solar program. There's a couple different commercial paths for this project. We're structured a little differently than New Leaf in that New Leaf likely would not pursue a project if they had no guarantee that they would be a shared solar project. Whereas this project in CEP Solar, we have a little bit more optionality, which benefits the project and frankly allows us to not be subject to some of those regulations at the state level. You know, if next year the state decided to shutter up the shared solar program and APCO's involvement in it, then that project would have a really hard time moving forward, whereas we can kind of, you know, bend, not break with some of those regulations. And the last thing I do want to touch on this slide with respect to economics is that we have mirrored to the greatest extent possible, all of the conditions of the approved New Leaf agreement. We have mirrored directly all of their financial obligations. $20,000 per megawatt in voluntary payment, equating to $100,000 total. And then $50,000 in cost reimbursement with a pour-over concept. So if the county spends $20,000 reviewing site plans and approving final design, then the difference of that, the $30,000, the county would keep and be able to reallocate in their budget for other uses. And the last thing being the $25,000 additional contribution to the county budget that's earmarked for the volunteer fire department. That's some great work, and I understand, Chairman Eaton, you've been leading a lot of the work with the fire department, so that's a great cause, and I hope that's something that we can all get behind. Great. Flipping on to the next slide, just talking through some of our community outreach. We've sent project information and mailers to all the adjacent and adjoining landowners. I've personally gone and knocked on doors and spoken with neighbors and just tried to make myself available to answer any questions. And I've also, spoken on the phone with folks who might have a P.O. box or a mailbox locally, but they're, for whatever reason, they're down in Florida or elsewhere. And we did hold a community meeting at the Belfast Rosedale Volunteer Fire Department on August 7th of 2024. Feels like eons ago, but that was a great meeting. It was well attended. Folks had good questions, and more than anything, we're just genuinely curious about the project and wanted to be kept in the know, which was a nice change of pace from some of the other community meetings that we hold in other localities on South Side. So that was great. And we've also attended a couple local events. I saw many of you back at the Solar 101 open house in Lebanon last December. That was hosted by Energy Right. And we also, myself and Jackson Eliasek, who's our community engagement manager for this project, who's pictured here on this slide, we also attended the Southwest Virginia Solar Summit at UVA Wise this past May. It's a great event, and got the chance to, get to know other folks in the industry in Southwest Virginia and just continue spreading information about the project. Flipping to this next slide on community benefits. This is something that's really unique to CEP and something we're quite proud of. A lot of times you talk about all the good that these projects can do, and sometimes, more often than not, that's limited to tax revenue. And folks in these communities often aren't realizing those benefits. That tax revenue is not showing up to their door in the form of a check, nor in the form of someone, just coming by to say hello and ask them questions about projects, or even just about how their day was. So this community benefits program is really a way that CEP has identified this need within the market for projects to make benefits more tangible and real to some of these communities that we partner with. We focus on some of these 5 categories of public health and safety, food security, economic development, environmental sustainability, and education. And this is really just encapsulates what we do and our outlook very well, which is building meaningful and long-lasting relationships in the counties that we work in. So if we flip to the next slide, we can get kind of a quick look at what we've done to that extent thus far in Russell County. We've partnered with the Southwest Virginia Community College to create a scholarship for their renewable energy and energy efficiency program to be awarded to a student from Russell County. The scholarship for the fall semester of 2025 was awarded to Bryce Stinson. I've not had the opportunity yet to meet Bryce, but I understand he's an outstanding young man, both from his work in the classroom and his work as an Eagle Scout. And I'll actually be down here later this week for a donor reception, and hope to meet Bryce at that. So looking forward to that. And the next, kind of partnership opportunity that we've taken advantage of here is partnering with the Lebanon Community Food Pantry that supports 500 families and counting by providing them groceries for pickup once a month. We provided a donation that's going to help them support roughly 40 families. And while these partnerships may seem, fairly insignificant at this stage, these are partnerships that we intend to grow and expand upon in the future as we intend to have and hope to have a long-lasting relationship with Russell County. So that's all I have for you from a presentation perspective. But before opening it up for questions from you all and questions from the public, I just want to emphasize my appreciation to you all, both the time you've committed to reviewing not only this project, but New Leaf's as well. And I also just want to express my gratitude to you, not only to you all, but also to CEP and Stewart Land and Cattle for letting me get up here and fumble my way through this. It's easy the way things are today to be discouraged, but you got to be the change you want to see in the world, and nothing worth doing is easy. So I'm very grateful for y'all's time, and I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Appreciate it.
Does anybody from the board have any questions?
Oh, David, don't you dare get me started. All right, are you ready for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 1,000 feet off the road.
Yes, ma'am.
That's where you're gonna start. So you're gonna be clear up above those rock outcrops, all the way up on the top, correct? Because when you go down the road, you go to Clifton, then you got the big Stewart Land Cattle Company sign, then
Yes,
you
ma'am.
got the cattle guards, then you got all the cattails and that creek, it goes all the way, winds down
Yes,
the
ma'am.
road. So you're gonna head up that hill 1,000 feet to stay away from a neighbor.
If we can go to the buffer map, that one, yeah, I think, Thomas, you were talking about from the
okay.
residences that are 600 feet from the
Yes.
property boundary, that's 600 feet plus 75 of required setback before, even before taking into account Tobo and any other challenges on that end of the site for the eastern side. And then these houses are clearly less than that, but the topography here is challenging. So 600, 400, 200 feet from the property boundary on the south side there.
Okay, and at the Belfast meeting, there was the Mitchells, 2 of them, the Ashbys, 2 of them, and Nancy Wolf. There was 5 citizens at the meeting, other than the rest of them were you and your company, so they'll clarify that with how many was there. So this is an automatic 5-year update every 5 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
All righty. All right, explain to me on where will you dispose of these panels? If something happens to them, where will you take them?
So we're committed in the siting agreement to disposing to all of the material outside of the county.
Material of the panels.
Material of the panels. I don't have a great grasp of the nearest and acceptable disposal facilities outside of the county. That being said, that's an area that, we could collaborate on moving forward and identify some as potentially as part of the agreement.
I think it's important, I can speak to that a little bit. So
Yeah.
there are, as Thomas mentioned, 80% of the weight of the panels is aluminum and glass, so recyclable material. So as the market grows to support recycling and disposition of panel materials, there are more specific facilities across the state now, and outside the state too, frankly, that are taking solar panels specifically for recycling and disposition. We expect, and that was part of our commitment to taking the panels outside of the county, was at the request of our discussions with staff and others to make sure that they're not a burden on your landfill here in Russell County.
Okay, the next, on page 10, the applicants shall make payments county amounts that are such set forth and payment collectively. When do you plan to pay the county this $100,000 and the $25,000 earmarked for our fire departments and rescue squads?
Yes, ma'am. So those would be, from my understanding, is that those payments would be made at final site plan approval, which we would apply for a building permit and request final site plan approval once we've gone through the rest of the permitting processes with the state and we finalized our interconnection agreement with APCO. So that I would anticipate that taking place, before construction, and construction we've estimated to take place in 2027. So before 2027 is the goal.
And that leads me to page 11, under no obligation to develop. The applicant has no obligation to develop or construct the project. So you might get your site agreement, but you could sit on it for a good while. Is that correct?
Well, we can't, this is the first step. We have to get the county approval first
Right.
before going through any state steps. So, yeah, and we may run into roadblocks in the future. It could be at the state level, although we wouldn't expect it. It could be at the federal level, although, as Thomas mentioned, we try to cite this so that there are minimal impacts. We probably would need a small nationwide permit for one location, and then with APCO and the utility side, challenges can come up, rules can change, things can be delayed that are out of our control. A lot of that's happening at the transmission level now. So we are we plan to continue to develop a project, but until we have a project, we're not.
No money up front. It'll all be.
That's right. That's right. Yes, ma'am.
All right, on page 12, I also have, county and applicant may give further here under any designee, any further or different person or addresses notice shall be sent. So explain that to me. I'm not the lawyer. Tyler will have to give me a
Yeah, I may
short
have to
101
lean on my
lesson.
lawyer as well, on ours.
Rebecca, sorry, could you repeat that?
Page 12, right there.
Page 12, yeah.
Right here.
Thanks, Lonzo.
You're welcome, man.
This is for both parties, so for both the county and for the project. If notices for the project that are required to legally go out, need to go to a different address. If our office address changes, if yours changes, or there's a different designee to be in receipt of any notices through the siting agreement, that covers the flexibility and requirement for both parties to make sure that, everyone's effectively noticed,
Given time.
and correctly at any given time, that's right.
And given plenty of time to read. Because I just received this when I sat down this afternoon, so,
I mean, I will say, so we tried our best to mirror exactly the siting agreement that was approved last month for the other projects to make it as simple and as consistent as possible. We went through the differences for that agreement from our most recent version, and the majority of this is very consistent with that last form. So we tried
well,
to simplify.
one major thing,
Yeah.
is Stewart's Land Cattle Company a corporation or a private individual? See, that's a big difference. So if things don't go right, do I go after Sandy and choke him or B? They're not there, see? It's a difference.
They go after us before you go after them, probably, but, no, the way the decommissioning bond is set up is that the project is first obligated contractually to meet the decommissioning requirements or any other obligations in this agreement. If the decommissioning at the end of the life of the project is not, if the project owner and operator does not decommission the project according to the siting agreement, the county can call the bond and step in to protect. And then the landowner also has rights to be able to protect, through our agreement with the company, they're protected also from the project for decommissioning purposes, so that the bond is there to protect both parties.
So it's set with a board of directors then, correct?
I don't want to speak, you mean for their company?
No,
Or for us?
For you all, for a board of directors, right, a corporation?
Well, for us as a company, for us and for the project, the project entity owns the project, and there can be different parties in that. So maybe I should understand your question a little bit better. Can you?
Okay, well, like I said, and I made a joke of it, but if things are not done appropriately,
Right.
then who is the county? We don't want to be held for anything, liable for anything.
Right.
So who then will be held liable?
The company that owns the project would be
And
liable.
you can sell it at any time, correct?
We can sell it, yes, at any time, and it could be a different owner, which is allowed for in the agreement.
Agreement.
And
Yeah, that's
same
pretty
as
standard.
Same as the other one, yeah, it's very standard, yeah. And then, to your point on the notice, you would know who that is. There are requirements for the selling party to notify the county, and then you know who to contact at that point, and so would the landowner as well.
Tyler, I have 10,000 questions for you, child.
Mr. Chair, if I may. You stated that it is very much a replica of what we've already seen and
Yes.
approved.
Yes.
So is there any redlining in here that I don't have that would tell me what is different from what we approved last time to this time?
Okay.
What am I looking at that's different?
I can speak to a couple points, Tyler.
Yeah.
Do you want us to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
One of the points is panel height. That was 15 feet. This is 25 to allow for some flexibility of different racking because of the topography. So that was one change. Another change was that that prior agreement, our agreement obligates the county to call the bond before the landowner does. So that's switched, and that's standard in the market for the county to be the first call on the bond. I'm not sure why the other group did it the other way, but the county, that's a very, very standard process, so that's changed. I believe there was some, language about sharing the lease between the project and the landowner, which is not typical. So, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a change in this version. And then John, is there anything else I'm missing that's material on the minimal number of different?
Yeah, I think the only other change is it's a shared solar. Again, those projects were committed to shared solar, so it said this will be a shared solar project. This is a eligible shared solar project, but as Thomas mentioned, there's other ways to bring this project forward that may not be shared solar. So those are the key, other than maybe a couple word quibbles.
Yeah, and on the shared solar topic, if the project is eligible and goes into that program, then we have the same commitment to offer it to the county residents first for a period of time. So we wanted to make sure that the project, it does not have to be a shared solar project if for some reason there's another path that works too, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I have a question. You all said $25,000 for fire department. How is that going to be? You know, are you going to divvy it up, or are you just giving that to us as a chunk, basically?
We would follow the same path, so however you resolve it
Okay.
on the last
Well,
one.
now I will tell you, New Leaf committed 50.
With two projects, right?
Two
projects.
projects. So, okay,
Yeah,
so
so
I
we're
won't
doing
get
the same
50 out of
amount
you?
per project.
Why not? Come on. You can't blame me for trying.
So I agree with you because they've got 440 acres, so let's chunk off 5 megawatts here, here, here. Every time they do, I think we need to have our little handout.
That's a good idea.
I'm greedy.
One of the things I think I had discussion with you is our volunteer fire department and rescue organizations that do a fantastic job. Since I took on the emergency management position, being able to meet with these great people, they gave me a kind of a needs list. We're trying to meet that needs list either by communication, as Miss Rebecca has seen that needs to be fulfilled, or we need a ladder truck. We need a truck that helps to combat some of the large commercial entity buildings. I talked to one of the fire department members actually before we had the meeting to let them know my commitment to try to help with the needs assessment. I know they're very expensive. These are very expensive. So whatever takes place between the board and the agreement, I would like for y'all to understand, just like what the money would be designated for is for public safety. So these fire trucks that have the extensions on them are very expensive, but it's one of the things that we absolutely need. And any other additional agreements, or just keep that in mind, that's a really critical aspect of our needs assessment, is to get a ladder truck. They can talk about it more than I can, since they're the ones on the ground doing all the work and stuff like that. But I know they have worked with me really well to let me know that from the rescue side and the fire department side on their needs assessment, to try to meet some of these obligations that they need, because you never know when we're going to hit with another storm or anything like that. But I appreciate, and I think you've done a good job up here speaking. You did good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that. We want to make sure that, that allocation, you all are managing that budget more closely and more detailed than we are, and have a better understanding. But we understand that it's a need, and we're glad to hear that we can hopefully participate to support that in some way. We know it's more than $25,000, but a lot more. But
It's going to be a long-term relationship.
I imagine, although it's earmarked for the fire department, you would work with the Fire Chiefs Association in determining where the biggest need is.
We've had good discussion with fire department. They've enlightened me on a lot of aspects. Particulars like if they get into a situation with these 2 to 3 story buildings, they have no way to attack that fire. So I have a little bit of experience in that, because we did have a 3-story building in Honaker that caught fire, just luckily, I had my bucket trucks that I had a cable broadband system, so I had 2 bucket trucks sitting there available. And I never dreamed that I'd be using bucket trucks with fire hoses to place people in this situation to help put out the fire. So I had no clue, but with that experience and plus with the knowledge that these people have on the ground, they need stuff to work with. And the only way they're going to have stuff to work with is that we partner with. Our alliance has to be pretty strong to be able to get the kind of money we need to be able to meet these needs. And that'll be the board's discretion, as far as how that allocation will be handled. I just want to make sure they're aware that we do have this needs assessment by our local rescue and our local fire department to help meet these needs.
That's great. Thank you.
As far as your map goes, you've got 400 and however many acres marked off. Now, obviously, 5 megawatts is not going to take 400 and however many acres. Okay, and part of the agreement we have here, we have Exhibit C, and it's blank. So how do we know what part of that area of 400 acres that you're going to be using?
We previously had a preliminary development envelope map that was included there in Exhibit C. And for whatever reason, I think with the software to generate those red lines, it eliminated that map from this version of the agreement. But we're more than happy to recirculate that.
Number of acreage or what are you proposing? I mean, you've studied 400, but how much are you using and where?
We anticipate that the project will use somewhere probably around 50 panel acres, but there's some topography and some constraints. We'll probably be on about 100 acres plus or minus of the 440, but we still have subsequent diligence studies to do on site, the field work, geotech, things like that that'll determine the final location. So we're still asking for the flexibility to put the project within this 440 acre boundary. That would be the map that's in the exhibit. But we expect that the panel area for 5 megawatts on this site will be about 50 acres. So I think the previous versions of the siting agreement in Exhibit C have had a boundary survey that's similar. This is not a single parcel, so this is the study area. It's of a bigger parcel, but this would be the bounds of the area that would be under approval for further diligence. John, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Now I'll open it up to any citizens that would like to speak. Come on up, sir. If you want to, could you come to the podium, please? I'm sorry, so we can hear you. And if you don't care, just state your name and address, please.
Name's Alan Mitchell. That's my gate to keep showing in the picture. It's 2173 Old Highway 19. First off, I'd like to invite all of y'all to come to my property and look at this. And you'll see that we look at most of this from the front door. And nobody's going to buy our property and look at a solar farm. Stewart has thousands of acres. Why can't they put it out somebody's front door? But I'd appreciate if you all would come by and look at it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else from the public? Come on up, please.
Excuse me. 175 Community Church Road, Swords Creek. What is your estimated cost per kilowatt hour?
You want to know are we allowed?
Yeah, you're allowed. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is for our community to get the answers they need.
Okay, great, thanks. So the projects, right now, solar is the lowest cost of new kilowatt hour generation compared to any other form of energy. These projects have free fuel, so there's no fuel cost. They're not importing electricity from other states. It is, there are lots of different metrics. I don't want, there are different numbers we can share with you. I don't want to misquote something, but it is the lowest cost of electricity for generation. Typically, programs like Shared Solar are offering a discounted bill to the ratepayer because the cost of generation is lower, or at least keeping that bill rate the same for you.
Well, if you have the ability to sell your facility, if you sell it to Appalachian Power Company, the ratepayers will be paying for this facility. I have solar panels, and they are getting better all the time. But on rainy days, cloudy days, very little is generated. You cannot guarantee 5 kilowatts because you got nighttime, rainy weather, cloudy weather.
Right.
So you cannot guarantee any amount of electricity.
The projects generate an estimated number of kilowatt hours per year. They are not designated specifically to power one load. It's up to, if APCO owns the project, it's up to them to balance the supply so that there is electricity available 24/7, 365 days a year. And this project would contribute to that overall mix of generation.
Well, I've got a question about why do you need to take up farmland when we have thousands of acres of strip mine land? It's high up in the elevation, get more sun, but you want to take farmland. I know there's an infrastructure thing that goes in with that, because up on those mountains you don't have the infrastructure.
That's right.
I'm an old farmer, and I hate to see farmland taken up for something like this. It's not my opinion that this is the best way to use this land.
We evaluate different types of properties and work with the landowners to accomplish what they want to accomplish with their land and what makes sense for how they're managing it. And then we also look at as solar has grown, the percentage of farmland that is taking up or timberland in the state is very minimal. So we're not, from the perspective of us at least, this is a temporary use, even though it's 40 years and sounds like a long term. The landowner has the right to turn it back to agriculture at the end of the life of the project.
Yes, sir.
It's not houses, which are permanent, change of land use, but in the grand scheme of things, it's ultimately a temporary use that allows the landowner to consider going back to agriculture after the use of the project.
Well, it's my understanding that the board of directors of Short Land and Cattle Company were to keep the land for beef and cattle production only. Is that not?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The board of directors that oversees Short Land and Cattle Company, it has to remain a beef cattle operation.
Well, this project is a small diversification, and I don't want to speak for their board. I'm not speaking for their board, but the number of acres that this takes up is a small diversification of the overall operation, and they have a lot of acreage to keep in cattle operations and remain, have that remain a part of their business.
Does that go along with what their they have been told to do with the land? I mean, how much leeway do they have other than beef?
We worked very closely with their attorney to come to a legal agreement that complies with our obligations as an entity on the CEP Solar side, and also with their corporate operations and their legal structure. So our agreement through their local attorney here in the county
Can I ask
came to a legal agreement that complies with the regulations of both boards and both companies.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you have a letter of support from their board to go with this? Any documentation?
They voted approval to enter into the.
So you have a letter of the documentation of that you could show us?
We have a contract.
You do have,
We
you
have a
could show?
contract, we don't have a letter of,
Okay.
I mean, the contract is the support.
I'm vice
Okay.
chairman of the board, up to date on all this.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Roberta Mitchell, 2173 Old Highway 19, Cedar Bluff. And I have a few questions. First of all, you said the meeting at Belfast was well attended. How many people from the community were there besides your group?
I believe by our last count in total, it was 11, which would have included also some folks here from Stewart Land and Cattle.
How many from the community?
Yes, 7 plus or minus.
I'm-
For those who signed up, we don't know, we put a sign up sheet.
It was advertised in the newspaper and it went online as a public announcement.
Our mailing was compliant with all the requirements and
Okay, you stated that you visited places in the community, you spoke to neighbors. How many? Because none of my neighbors knew about it until I told them.
I don't have an exact figure of how many neighbors I spoke to handy. I spoke to all of the residences along Acre Lane down there to the south.
That's at the top, but on the old Highway 19 side.
On the old Highway 19 side, I refrained from, I didn't want to go past all of everyone's very marked, like very well marked, no trespassing signs, and you all have a very nice long private driveway.
We have that, but our neighbors don't. So what's the reason that you didn't talk to them?
I was just trying to be respectful of their privacy. We had,
And it's okay to come in with a solar farm and not tell them about it and being good neighbors in the community?
I mean, I will say that Thomas tried to reach out to neighbors through different means. There was we complied with the public notice. We followed up and had multiple conversations with those that were engaged. And
We were engaged, but you never came to our house. We found out about it when we got the thing in the mail. Nobody ever reached out to us before then.
The mailing was the first notification so that everybody received it at the same time. We want to make sure that we're not showing any preference to anybody specifically that's a neighbor. Everybody gets the same notice at the same time, has the same invite to the first meeting so that we can present the project to anyone who's there, answer questions, and then we follow the public hearing process with the county as well. And in addition to proactive engagement, to try to be available to answer questions.
Well, as my husband stated, we look directly at that property out our front door. So we're gonna be looking at that. So
We think that, I do think that if you stand at your driveway, the topography, the screening, the buffer that's there now, and the topography and the hillside, that the project is up on top of the hill, and from your driveway would not be visible.
we have a very long driveway. From the gate, it may not be. From our house, it is. Because you haven't been to our house, you don't know. So, can you argue with that? No. No. So, that's just my question. But thank you.
Thank you.
To the board, I would just like to say, in listening tonight, there's a lot of questions about this project that you all had. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of what ifs. What if we sell out? Where's it going to be? I mean, how can you approve a project when you really don't know where it's going to be? Those are my questions. And you have to understand from, like I said, I'm going to wake up looking at it every day. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening, members of the board. I won't steal too much of your time. I think you know my traditional spiel at this point. Of course, Ben Wilson from Energy Right. I won't belabor the point too much, but of course, our organization was founded out of a desire to make sure these projects were done right, but also to provide support and a voice for property owners, and the rights of those property owners, obviously, to find good and proper uses for their land. Of course, as you've heard tonight, this project took great effort to work with the landowner to find a parcel, or a part of a parcel rather, that was the high, provided an opportunity that was both good for the property owner and for a solar project, maybe a less productive piece of land. And that's what we want to see. We want to see property owners engaged and able to be entrepreneurs. We recognize that that's core to what makes America exceptional, what makes our country so great, is the idea that we can explore new opportunities for our land. There was a lot of discussion about a cost, and I know that was a big part in the New Leaf, the savings from projects. One thing that you probably haven't heard me say before, and is a new thing, is related to Appalachian Power. Recently, APCO just announced a small but not insignificant decrease in their rates for Appalachian Power customers, about 24% in this next year. It actually just went off the ground on November 1st. And if you go and look at why that happened, they directly attribute that to lower fuel costs and greater adoption of renewable energy. Because, as was said tonight, renewable energy is the cheapest way to get new electrons on the grid. And the benefit of a small project like this is you bring those electrons directly into the local community. It connects to distribution lines, feeds your local homes and businesses. So you've heard all my talking points before. As you make this decision tonight, I encourage you to remember the rights of the property owner who've thought about this and, of course, know their land best and want to make the best use of their land. But also think about that other part, that broader economic development opportunity and cost-saving opportunity over time as we contribute cheaper electrons, cheaper power to the grid. Consumers in Appalachian Power territory will save money over time. So I appreciate your time this evening and hope you keep those points in consideration as you make your decision this evening.
Thank you, sir. Okay, come on up, RD.
I'm R.D. Sneed, Lebanon, Virginia, and I spoke at the last meeting in favor of course, the project, and I'm in favor of this project. I think that we need to talk about some things that I mentioned tonight. And I've had some folks that have asked me to inquire for some clarification on some things. Some of it you touched on tonight. One, I'm not worried about anything from a general liability or bond issue probably in the first 10 or 15 years. But it's after some of us may be gone, all of us may be gone, and 25 years down the road, you got a lot of rust and so forth that may be accumulating, or you got a property abandoned. Mr. Lester, I think that you have a real hefty bond in mind that will take care of that with the Board of Supervisors, I presume, as the obligee. All right. Now, with respect to general liability, are you all going to be named as an additional insured? Okay. Now, we all know the situation that happened in Bristol about insurance and who's supposed to get notice and all that. When you're dealing with those additional insureds, sometimes you don't get them. So I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know exactly how, but if you can just train everybody to keep, just calendar it and look for it, because that's when you can get into a mess. These guys may work 15 years and be gone, and the company get out of business. So that I think will take care of that. The distance is the other thing, and I will tell you, some of y'all may not know Roberta, but I have the pleasure of knowing her. She was my right and left hand at the insurance and real estate office for a lot of years, and she kept me straight. She kept me out of a lot of trouble. And so I do think they make a point, and I think you all should go out there and look at what she's talking about. I think with the land that's involved here, I don't see any reason we can't deal with a buffer that's satisfactory to the neighbors and all that kind of thing. So I haven't been up there either personally, but I think it's warranted to take a look at. If I understand right, you've got some 30 feet of vegetation on past the fence and all that kind of thing. But I think that's worth looking at, and I think I think it's important. That's what some other people have asked me about, is how close, and I want to get a little clarification, how close will you be to the nearest neighbor? Is it 600 feet? I didn't really catch the distance.
I can go back through that slide at the appropriate time.
About 600 feet.
I can speak to maybe after you're finished, I can speak to the maps for everybody.
Well, I just want a clarification, whatever you need to do. Is it 600 foot? Is it 50 foot? What is it?
Can we go back to the map here, please? Thank you. Okay, so it varies depending. So I do want to emphasize that, for when we started this process probably 3 years ago, we looked really carefully at all of the land, and one of the key pieces of what is a good site is how the visibility is mitigated and how isolated the site is. This property fortunately provides a couple different benefits that limit that issue or concern or question that comes up. One is general location, and you can see to the north and somewhat to the south. We know there's a neighbor here we've talked with as well. The majority of the residences that are closer are on the eastern side of the property as well as the southern side. A second big component of why this site made more sense to us for viewshed mitigation was the topography and the significant nature of the difference in elevation for the area that's likely buildable relative to the residences that are down well below from a topography perspective. The actual elevation, including those up the east side, this is a very steep bank until you get to about here, and that increases both the setback from the property boundary and the additional 600 feet. This white dashed line is 600 feet from outside the property line. So in this area with the Mitchells, specifically, this topography both pushes the panel area back and well up above their house, and would in all likelihood would limit the visibility if you can see it at all, in addition to the view shed that's there. So to answer your question about other houses, there are other residences that are here in yellow that are inside of 600 feet from the property boundary. The project is obligated not to place any equipment closer than 75 feet to the boundary. So any distance of a residence from the house, from the residence to the property boundary, you then add 75 feet to determine the actual minimum setback. It may be greater than that depending on site constraints.
And then your vegetation would be 30 feet set back toward those houses in addition.
In between the property
Right.
boundary and
Okay.
the
All right.
project area, the panel area. Yeah,
All
and
right.
we're required the project has to have a security fence on, so from the property boundary to the buffer, vegetative buffer, then there's a security fence on the
Right.
inside of the property side of the project.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, RD. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Jennifer?
Jennifer Chumley, Cleveland, Virginia. I don't know enough about solar to get too much into it, but just a simple thought. I don't know if any of this property is in land use currently, or if you guys got something set aside for that, or how that will work going forward for farmers that are giving up part of their property for solar, and will they still get that land use credit?
I don't think they will, from
Well,
what
that's
I'm
something.
understanding from asking the planning commission.
That's what I was wondering.
That once it comes out, then that goes.
Full tax?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And that's part of the revenue benefits that we've outlined.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone else?
Hi, y'all. Jared Ring. From where I'm sitting, this looks like two main issues here are property rights. Should you be able to develop your property how you deem fit. It seems like solar panels are how the land holding company has decided to do this, and I do think you should be able, as long as you're not hurting other people, to develop your property how you like if it doesn't pose a health risk or something to the people around you. And I wouldn't want to live in a Russell County where we turn down every project just because the neighbors don't like how it looks. I mean, it could just as easily be a big stinky feedlot or a stockyard right there. Instead, it's panels. I do think that if there are neighbors that don't like the look of it, I do think it'd be a appropriate courtesy to plant some loblolly pines or some cedar or something, give them a nice buffer between it. And in general, I think solar's a good thing for the county. Creates a handful of jobs, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Handful of jobs is slow, boring economic development, but slow, boring economic development is what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Anyone else?
I'm Tammy Garrett. I didn't come here tonight to speak about this, but I'm just following up with what RD, kind of following up along what RD was saying. When I was listening, and I was here for the New Leaf presentation too, and what I noticed is when New Leaf did their presentation, they had a set area that they already knew where they were going to be placing their solar panels. They already knew where everything was going to go. And the way I understood this is they have 500 acres, and I believe Mr. Wright said they will have the ability, they're going to put the solar panels on 50, but they have the ability to work within that 500 acres. So if they have the ability to move around and place solar panels or whatever within all of that property, then how are they going to guarantee that the Mitchells, and I don't know the Mitchells, I might have met Roberta at RD's office, but what kind of guarantee is that to them that it will not, be like she said, that they won't open their front door and it's going to be right there, if they have the ability to move these panels around within that 500 acres. And that's the difference that I see in this proposal from the New Leaf one, because they had their site already selected. And it sounds like this one is a little bit challenging. He's mentioned the challenges to the topography and stuff. And so if they start moving things around, how are the neighbors going to be guaranteed that they're not going to be looking at that? And I mean, I just got to thinking about it, and I just thought I wouldn't want to open my front door and have to see that myself. So I think as a courtesy, we do need to, the county needs to investigate. Are they going to be moving these panels around and putting them wherever within those 500 acres that it might not be a neighborly act? And in general, I do agree with solar. So I just think that that's something to consider.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Go ahead. Come on right on. Yeah. Yeah.
And point to the map. I mean, we are making the commitments regardless of whether or not, regardless of where the panel area ends up within this 440 acre boundary. So initially, we're being cognizant. We had hoped to have a larger project for more benefits, but we're where we are now for the reasons we've explained. We are making these commitments. You can see that the Mitchells on the east is 600 feet from the property boundary plus the 75-foot setback. Topography is higher in this part of the site. A 5 megawatt project in this location should occupy about 50 acres. But we need to make sure that if there is there are studies to be done after the county process. It's all very sequential. The other properties may have just been, the landowner may have said, we only want you to look at this 50 acres and that's it. I'm not sure how they managed it, they may have had a smaller parcel. But we had identified this area to start with and request approval for, so that we can fine tune it, but the requirements for setbacks remain the same regardless of where the panels are, in order to protect neighbors, and those around it. And it doesn't, if we have 5 acres or 5 megawatts closer, it doesn't mean that we're reducing the setback. If it ends up over here, instead, it may be further away, so there may be benefits if it goes the other direction too, just to clarify, so.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Now, let me ask you this. You're not going to put, I don't know how many solar panels you're talking about, but you're not going to put a cluster here and a cluster here and a cluster on one end. I know from an economic standpoint, you're going to try to keep them all as close together as you can. So it won't be that that 5,000 kilowatt facility will be scattered entirely across the entire area.
Right.
You'll have an area that will be as consolidated as you can get it.
Yes, sir.
From an
That's right.
economic
Yes.
standpoint.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How soon will you know where you're going to put these? Because I do feel for Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, and the fact that nobody spoke with them about this, and they're right there.
They
And
did attend the community meeting.
Oh, they
We spoke
did?
with them at the community meeting.
Okay.
And I think this is helpful, actually. We didn't have a slide with it, but, you know, you can see that their house is below 2,150 feet of elevation, and this area, oops, sorry. You know, the elevation, so, sorry.
Yeah, right. Let me get it straight.
Quit clicking, Lonzo.
This thing is very sensitive. There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry, you can see how steep the topo is here, coming up to 2250. Whoops, sorry. And you know, we did get to meet them at the community meeting. We're glad they attended and were there, and they.
So what you're saying is the panels will likely be higher than their.
That's right. The first probable buildable area is probably slightly over 100 feet higher in elevation than their house, based on these topography lines. This is 2150. This area is probably the likely first area that can be built to the west, if that makes sense, and that's at an elevation of 2,250 feet. So over 100 feet higher, than their house, plus all the vegetative mitigation.
Right. And I mean, I know we can't appease everybody. I just wish we could get some reassurances, I suppose, that it would be out of their line of sight. You know, and I'm definitely for people using their land, but I hate to, you know, if we could at all, but I understand if we
We're trying to do our
can't.
best there. I mean, I think the combination of distance, height, elevation, and vegetation does accomplish that. When you take into account the distance from, so their house is 600 feet from the property line. This area, and we've looked at this specifically, this area is probably another, correct me if I'm wrong, about 400 feet. So on this side, their house is probably 1,000 feet from the first area that could be built with panels. The rest of it remains in vegetation and grass and, you know, whatever the landowner wants to do with it over there. So that's, we're being cognizant of that, and I think that's part of the reason this area makes sense, because it naturally pushes the potential panel area further from their house on that side of the property. Thank you for sharing, whoever's sharing this, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lonzo. Anybody else? Got any comments? Can you please come up, Mr. Mitchell?
I apologize. I'm mad and I don't speak well when I'm mad. But we can see that whole knob from our home. And as Ms. Dye said, there's a stream that comes out of a cave there, cattails all the way down there, and it runs through our farm. So what's going to run through our place? That concerns us.
Oh, you're talking, oh, I thought you was talking to me moving to the left. You're talking about the project moving to the left.
Okay, well, I think one of my recommendations from the board's perspective, I know where you guys live, but I would encourage the board to go up and take a look at
I'd appreciate it.
that in all respect, to take a look at it, but, Ms. Dye, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, if you don't care, I'd like to table this because I have a lot of more questions for Tyler. I just got this was laid in front of me, and I want to ask Tyler, our attorney, some more questions. To table it till next month.
Yeah, I'd like to have a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I mean, I know that.
Well, I've got to close the public hearing first, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry, David. We're jumping the gun. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. I guess the recommendation is, anybody else got anything you want to say? Because if not, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'll go ahead and do that now. Yes, you sure can, sir.
Did they say these were gonna be 25 foot in the air? Is that what it said?
Up to
25 foot. So you take a flagpole and put it on top of a hill, and you raise the flag up, you can see the flag. Think about that. And I think it would be wrong with the board if they don't go up there as a whole. Not one or two, but every one of you need to go up and look at the area that the Mitchells are talking about. They deserve
Yeah.
all of you to go up there and look.
Well, we'd have to have a reconvened meeting for all of us to be together at one time, but I think every one of us, in all respect, need to go take a look at it and,
How can you vote on something if you don't know what you're voting on? Because you really won't know if you're not there to see what it is.
okay, so I've closed the public hearing. Go ahead, Ms. Dye.
I'll back up and I'll make my motion that I'd like to table this until next month because I do have further questions for our attorney.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
If we're in discussion, I'd like to request in that month period, if we can nail down, and I'm a forester, so I deal with maps daily. If you could get me some sort of topo map that I can take up there with me so I can just look at that while I'm standing there. I can look at it pretty good and have an idea in my head just sitting here, but just because of all my experience being on properties. But if I could carry that with me, that would be valuable till I could maybe even discuss stuff with the other board members by looking at that map. And I know you say 400 and however many acres, and if you could even nail it down just a little bit more, like this area will not work because of terrain, it's too steep, and just mark that out. That would be helpful to me. If you can't, just a topo map with a boundary line would be fine.
Okay. All hearts satisfied? I'll start with Andrew. In favor?
Yes.
Okay. Lou?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, we're going to table this and get some more information. Tyler, I would like to make a recommendation that you and the county administrator meet with Miss Rebecca Dye at the office and get these people on the phone and clarify some of this information, and let's try to get ahead of this so we can be more prepared for the next meeting. And I would encourage everybody to go up to the Mitchells and once we get this information to take a look at this. Thank you. We can go two at a time.
Are you still going to be in town tomorrow? Oh. Well, Tyler, I'll get up with you.
Okay. Thank you all so much for your time and information. Let's just work together to get over some of these humps and boundaries. And, you know, we're not against anybody using their property for their needs, but we do have a concern for the residential people that do live around anybody's property. So if you'll provide us this information, I think we'll be good. Okay, next we have the Russell County Fire Service ordinance. I'm sorry. This is another public hearing. Man, we got a lot of public hearings.
You said burn it.
Yeah, we're liable. Anybody pack at lunch? Okay, or supper. So I'm going to open this up. Do we have a presentation at this time?
No, that's later in During the
later on?
presenta- yes.
Because I need to make sure that y'all put that in the agenda packet, that if
Yeah.
it's a presentation, I speak to the presentation first before the audience. But does anybody have any comments in regards to the Russell County Fire Service ordinance? Would any of our fire chiefs want to speak in regards to the ordinance, please? Not to put you on the spot, but thank you.
Chief McCoy, Lebanon Fire Department, thank you for having me tonight. So we worked very, very hard with, of course, Tyler worked hard on it, Lonzo worked hard, and we worked with David on this. So we did take a vote at our last chiefs meetings that we do approve this. I think it's a move for the county that's needed. It's been needed for a long time. We need to set a standard, even if it's a minimum standard, we need at least a standard across the board. Don't have a lot unless y'all have questions on it. I'm sure most of you have read it. Again, everything that was in there was unanimous vote yes for all the fire chiefs in Russell County. Okay.
Thank you for your hard work.
Questions or anything?
Was the vote unanimous?
Correct, yes, sir. Yep, correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions other than that? Good.
Okay, anybody else want to speak in regards to this? I don't want to leave anybody out.
Close that one.
Okay, I'll close the, this, and does, we want to take any board action currently on this fire service ordinance? Do I have a motion?
It's under.
Is it under the attorney?
It's an attorney.
So you want to wait till your
Yeah.
attorney?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll wait for the attorney guidance on that one. Okay, we have the ordinance on the Russell County Sunday sale of beer ordinance. We have people that want to speak. Mr. Judge. Don't sit down, Judge.
We already had your name on the agenda.
Me talk about that? I would never, least of all for a year and a half. Good evening, y'all. I'm Jared Ring of Castlewood. In previous meetings, I have said just about everything there is to say about this archaic beer and wine ordinance, but I'll say it again. It's my belief that legislating morality is entirely outside the role of government, particularly at a local level. A one-day ban on beer and wine is obviously that. And I also feel like I'm living in a Monty Python skit every time I remember that a county with more oxycodone clinics than bars is worried about beer and wine at all. And the argument for prohibition has been had and lost at every echelon of government over a century. That's probably why the ordinance had to be passed cloak and dagger while most of the men were off fighting in World War II to begin with. Speaking of which, private clubs were exempted back in the 70s because somebody at a local club had a buddy on the board. Seems fair to me. Every county and township around us used to have these antiquated ordinances and had the good sense to repeal them. Our own county seat had a big debate about this here in Lebanon, and the folks opposing repeal got a mud hole stomped in them during the referendum vote. I think the same thing would have happened for the whole county if we'd had the opportunity to follow through on the referendum that we wasted a year of revenue waiting for. There's nowhere in this county that you can't be over the line or in one of the towns that has an exemption in a few minutes. And that's driving money with it. Folks that want to buy a beer, watch Sunday night football, they're buying their gas and groceries over the line too. They're buying their meal over the line. And we're losing the revenue on all of it. And frankly, it's the poorer parts of the county that are in the unincorporated parts. That's your Castlewood, places outside Cleveland. In Castlewood, El Primo stopped serving alcohol full stop because state licensing was so bad. The new Israeli owner of the gas station there did the same thing. Nothing in the coolers. Why make it even harder? And let me tell y'all, it is downright unfair what this ordinance is doing to El Palenque in Castlewood. The folks that run it came here legally, saved up to start a business, became part of the fabric of the community, and employ people. And it is nothing short of spitting in the face of the American dream, forcing them to compete with St. Paul on an uneven playing field for absolutely no benefit to the county. Food is a hard enough industry to survive in. What investor in their right mind would open a business in Russell County after seeing this? And watching El Palenque get jerked around about this for at least the last year and a half since I've been chasing it, longer even. And I'm sure it's doing nothing good for Handy's outside Cleveland either. And the ordinance has been absolutely neutered. It only applies to beer and wine, but we're wide open for liquor by the drink and mixed drinks. That's not even in the ordinance. And it's a miracle that the business being denied the ability to serve margaritas when it's not even in the ordinance hasn't sued us over it yet. And that would have cost the county even more money if they had. And this was suspended for years by the state during COVID. And spoiler alert, nothing happened. This ordinance should have been taken out behind the barn decades ago. Nobody's being stopped from drinking. It's just hurting the economy. And, you know, this board has taken great economic steps in recent months. I was thrilled to hear about the modular home manufacturing coming in. I heard about a tour of some facilities months and months ago, so I was very happy to hear that. Getting rid of this ordinance is continuing to take steps in the right economic direction. Getting out of small businesses' way is an obvious choice for a conservative board. This should have been a no-brainer no risk revenue generator for the county, however small. And no, making the drunks drive further does not make the roads safer. Y'all try telling a crackhead not to tweak out on Sundays and see what happens. People coming in here as tourists also do not share the weird guilt culture around having an occasional drink that the cloistered geriatrics and a couple of denominations here have. It's alien to them. And seeing chains on the coolers when they stop at the gas station is like some Hills Have Eyes stuff. You know, see y'all in Wise County. And how many businesses would still be here over the last 80 years if this ordinance wasn't in place? I mean, it's not a huge revenue stream, but how much has this cost our coal-impoverished county over 80 years? You know, and 80 years worth of Russell County taxpayers have grudgingly tolerated this. I'm not those men. I'm not going to put up with it just because it's always been that way. I'll not shift the problem into my children or grandchildren's time. I'd rather deal with it right here, right now in mine. You know, I'm not going away about this. It needs to be repealed right here, right now, tonight. It's long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I second Mr. Chowdhury.
Jennifer Chumbley, Cleveland, Virginia. I don't even know how to follow that. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate you hearing me tonight. I want to take just a few minutes to talk about this beer and wine ordinance. And like I said, I don't know how to follow Jared on this, but let's be honest. We're one of the only places left that still even acts this way. Every surrounding county and most of the in town of Lebanon allows Sunday sales. People here drive 10, 15 minutes to buy what they want anyway. And when they do, our money, our tax revenue, our business all goes somewhere else. That's where it goes. Not here. This restriction doesn't stop anyone from drinking, as Jared said. It stops our small businesses from earning a living. It hurts our convenience stores, our restaurants, our gas stations, and it hurts our local economy every single week that this ordinance is in effect. What's ironic is that the very same people who may oppose it, they sure go on vacation to beaches, to cruises, restaurants in Bristol, wherever where alcohol is served all week long, including on Sundays. They enjoy it everywhere else, yet when they come home, they want Russell County to be the exception for some reason. It's not fair to the businesses trying to make it here. It's not fair to any of our small businesses. If anything, our county is the one that could most use the extra boost in local sales. Every other community around us has realized that the Sunday restrictions are outdated and unnecessary. We're not protecting morality by banning beer and wine sales. We're just protecting our neighboring counties' revenue. This is about fairness, economic sense, and keeping our dollars local. Let's stop pretending we're living in the 1950s. Russell County deserves to compete on equal footing with everyone else. So I'm asking the board tonight, let's move forward. Let's remove this outdated restriction and give our people and businesses the same opportunities that everyone else has. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I'm Tammy Garrett from Lebanon, and this is what I came here to speak about tonight, but I guess the social worker came out in me, and I unretired myself for a minute for the solar panel thing, but in general, I do support solar energy. But what I'm here tonight for is to voice my support for a vote to allow the sale of beer and wine on Sunday throughout the county. This ordinance, the prohibition ordinance, is outdated. It's unfair to businesses. We've seen that there's been no opposition to the repeal time and time again. Nobody has voiced any opposition to it. So there's really no legitimate reason not to just go ahead and repeal this ordinance. The board needs to move forward on this issue, get it resolved, and devote their time and attention to new and more pressing matters, and just have a vote, get this off the table and agenda, and move forward into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay, anyone else before I close the public hearing? Go ahead.
Josh Burgess, Cleveland, Virginia. I hadn't spoke to y'all in a bit. Things are going a little better in the county. I appreciate y'all stepping up and helping us out. But I want to speak on behalf of a local small mom and pop's business that is affected by this ordinance, and we haven't really raised a stink about it. Did ask a board member in the past, roughly 8 years ago, what is it and why is it, and the only answer they could give me was the churches and the religious groups in the community would not allow it, so it could not be changed. And so I went with it. I didn't say anything. I was like, okay, good enough. But time goes on. Local community, Lebanon, passed Sunday sales with no problem and very little resistance. And you would think the Lebanon community has the greatest concentration of churches, religious groups in the county. So if it's resistance you're afraid of, I don't know if you're going to see it. But I've seen Jared preach at y'all for a long while, and I appreciate him being so consistent. And I brought some numbers to tell you what you've been missing out on. And this is just one location in the county, small mom and pops in the middle of nowhere. Broke down, this is a middle of the road average, but it is real numbers. And you can take the total tax loss for a year is $1,040. Okay, and that's one location. And if you say the 8 years that have spanned since the first conversation arose, you're looking at $8,320 loss. And that's just taxes. And if you span that, the life of this business, the county has lost out on $62,400, one location. And when you're, say, strapped for cash, looking for money, and you result to raising the taxes on the citizens, I cannot agree with that. When you clearly have missed the boat here for a long time. And if you look at it from the business side, you know, what is the business missing out on? Because you take a tax rate is far less than a margin or percentage. So if you took a the same numbers and you took middle of the road profit, you're looking at $3,744 per year loss in profit. That's not revenue, that's profit. Okay, and you span that over the 8 years from the first conversation, that business has lost $29,952 in 8 years. Okay, and if you span that off through the life of the business, and these numbers are adjusted for inflation, so you're looking at $224,644 life of that business, and that is a big chunk of money. But you can also say, well, here's all this tax revenue, but what if the county did collect this money? Would we still have it? Would we be able to show something for it? It's kind of like time goes on, revenues go up, and then you get adjusted to it, and you get comfortable. I've always said it really don't matter how much you make, it's how much you save that counts. And I live by that. And what you do with those savings, you need to work those savings. Roll them into something, make them work for you. But if you take the no Sunday sales and you look at it from a customer count, say you go 6 days and then here comes Sunday. All of a sudden your customer count drops by 30% in one day. 30%. These are real numbers. All right, and then you take your overall sales for that day. Your daily sales drop by 25%. That's a big number over time, and I did not compound those numbers. So there is some real numbers for y'all to think about and how it's affecting your local small people. And, you know, one way or the other, I can't say I'm going to be pouty or cry or, you know, but just do the right thing for your local people, and we will stick behind you 100%.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Have a good.
David Ball, Cleveland. Let's be honest, the temperance movement ended decades ago. It's 2025. People here in Russell County are ordering alcohol deliveries from Abingdon right to their front doors, on Sundays included. I've seen the orders myself. The demand is real, and pretending otherwise doesn't make it go away. The problem with this ordinance is simple. It doesn't serve the public. So who is this ban helping? Right now, it only benefits a few ABC licensees inside Lebanon. Meanwhile, businesses in Honecker, Castlewood, Elk Garden, Cleveland, Hansonville, and everywhere else in the county are getting beaten with the short end of the ordinance stick every single Sunday under the sun. They're allowed to use their license only about 85% of the year because it's some half-century-old rule that barely anyone even cares about anymore. That's not fairness. That's favoritism. And it might cost more than an ill temper when someone finally decides to sue you over it. Let me say this plainly. This setup gives an unfair advantage to District 5, Mr. Breeding's district, while holding back businesses everywhere else. Why should 5 other districts in an at-large seat keep backing that kind of unfair discrimination? What's good for Lebanon ought to be good for the rest of Russell County. And let's be real, if folks can walk past this very building here in the county seat and buy alcohol on a Sunday, then prohibition in Russell County is already over. Keeping this old ordinance just punishes everyone else while enriching a handful of businesses in Lebanon, St. Paul, Richlands, and Abingdon. And I'm asking this board to repeal this ordinance tonight if you can, or as soon as possible. Not because I'm a big drinker, I'm not, I rarely ever drink, but because I believe in freedom, freedom for businesses to compete fairly on a level playing field, freedom for consumers to choose for themselves what day of the week they want to buy alcohol, and freedom for visitors to feel welcome in our county, not restricted by an outdated law nobody's enforcing anyways. This ordinance does nothing but hurt us. It's time we stop pretending it's doing any good and finally put it to rest by repealing it immediately. This rule does more harm than good, and it's time to let it go to the history books.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Any action from the board at this time?
It's illegal. It's illegal.
I'm sorry, it's in Tyler's hands. It's legal. We'll address it when it comes to Tyler. I might as well turn the meeting over to legal. Looks like you got your plate full, sir. Okay, the next one on, we have another public hearing on the Russell County Data Center Machine and Tool Tax Ordinance. Does anyone want to speak in regards to that?
What is it for? I don't understand.
I'll get you an explanation, okay? Let's see if anybody has anything they want to state, and then I'll go ahead, Tyler, if you want to address that.
Yeah.
Now.
So the machinery and tools tax for data centers. So we already have a machinery and tools tax, just for generally speaking, for, personal businesses, business throughout the county, that sort of thing. But there's a separate tax line item that the Virginia Code allows us to do specifically for data centers. So that can be a different rate from the normal machinery and tools tax, or it can be the same. But
You say you want to tax them more, or you
Well-
just want to allow them to operate, is what I don't understand.
yeah, so if there were to be a data center to come into Russell County, the machinery and tools tax on data centers would allow the county to tax the machinery and tools specifically in that data center. So there's already a machinery and tools tax in place for personal businesses, other businesses throughout the county, but there's not one for data centers. So we are, I think, the only county in Southwest Virginia, maybe even the entirety of the Commonwealth, that doesn't have one set.
So would taxing it discourage them or encourage them?
Well, can I elaborate too? When we had Northrop Grumman here, I didn't know whether you knew it, about approximately about 6 years ago, we had a litigation problem. The problem with data centers, they get into proprietary information, and it's software, proprietary information and stuff. This gives that loophole is going to have to be fixed. This gives the county to make sure that another Northrop Grumman don't occur. Because we had to, during the case, which we won, but we had to actually sue Northrop Grumman for their data centers and their servers, and we had to take inventories and Department of Taxation, long litigation. But to make a long story short, we won the case, but now we need, if any other data center moves in and occupies even the Northrop Grumman or another facility, this will protect us.
Does that help you answer? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to speak in regards to this? If not, I want to be respectful.
So you're not going to tax us on our personal computers?
No, this is unless you got a commercial data center over there.
I do have a bare metal server in my house.
No, that's not part of the equation. Okay.
I hadn't thought about that.
You want us to do that? I'm aggravating you. I'm just aggravating you, Mr. Ball. I'm just, yeah. I'll close this one. And is this Tyler too? Okay, this is legal too.
Yes.
All right, we have presentations. I'm trying to move through this as quick as I can, and I'm trying to be respectful to give enough people time to talk. I've got thrashed over 3 minutes and 10 minutes and 5 minutes, but I'm a guy that I want to be respectful to everybody to get the word out. So presentations, Brian Skeens with the Russell County Sheriff's Department E911 Communication Project.
There you are. I think this will take maybe 2 hours.
You better
get it. You better come save me, Maxie.
So, I'm here representing the sheriff's office, but also the fire departments and rescue squads in the county. As many of you all know, we have major communication problems. Our radio system is very dated. It doesn't work in the county, especially in Dant. We had problems when we were there on the flood. We had major communication problems. We could be standing and we were there in the middle of the water and couldn't talk to dispatch, but a state trooper could be beside of us and they could talk to their dispatch center in Whitwell. So we're a little behind on communications. And we think we have a solution that may fix part of that. And this is twofold. Part of it, will help us with data and cell phone communications. The other will help with radio communications. So I have a PowerPoint. You have a copy of this, I think, in your packet that you can look at. And I'll try not to bore you or take up a lot of time because I know you guys want to get out of here. So who's clicking slides for me? Here we go. The proposal recommends outfitting 71 vehicles in the county with Starlink devices. That 71 vehicles would be the sheriff's office vehicles, emergency management vehicles, and 2 for each fire and rescue agency in the county, thinking that they would have one of their 2 vehicles on any scene that they would go to. So if it's a structure fire, usually the chief truck goes and their first out pumper would go. And I've talked with Chief McCoy, who is here, about that. Wes Lawson from St. Paul Fire's here. He let us use his Starlink device in Dane once we got things set up and command going, and we saw what a benefit it was. So if we could go ahead, I'll try not to read everything. You all can read it. I'll try to talk a little quick here so we can move along. Under background and justification, and as Russell County's challenging terrain and rural layout lead to gaps in cellular and data coverage, first responder coordination and safety, access to mission-critical databases like NCIC, the mobile data terminals in the car, the CAD system, the mapping system, things that we use, and there's others that the fire departments and rescue squads use. GPS navigation and updates to what's going on in real time. The deputies can look at the computer in their car and they get messages directly from dispatch. It doesn't have to go over the radio. They're carrying routers in their cars now from Verizon. It only works where you have cell service. And we all know how cell service is in parts of the county. So this will have service basically everywhere. Mobile report writing and data entry would be beneficial for that. Live data and video transmission in active emergencies. Remote medical consultation and support, and I can talk about that more because I do that. Now, if you're in the back of an ambulance, you're required to transmit a 12-lead EKG on somebody with chest pain. Well, if you're a place you don't have cell service, you can't transmit that. So that immediately affects the patient outcomes. If we could get it transmitted from Cleveland or Back Valley where you need to, medical control can tell you what's going on. If it's a STEMI or something, you can treat it quicker. So it's very important for that. Limitations, delay response times, complicate emergency management, and compromise public safety. A satellite-based solution provides reliable, future-ready alternative to what we've been doing now. The proposal is to equip these 71 vehicles, excuse me, with a Starlink Mini. And there's going to be some numbers in this presentation that are a little shocking at first. But talking with Caleb just before the meeting, he has a source that we can get these Starlink devices for much cheaper than what's in the proposal. In their proposal, the quote we got was like $500 per device. He can get them for about $150. So it's a huge savings. The other thing with the routers from Verizon that are in the police cars now, we're paying about $920 a month for that. So if you compute that over a year, that's $11,040 that we could save. So that plus the $25,000 Caleb can save on the initial buy-in, that's $36,000 that we can deduct off the numbers that we had in the presentation. So it's going to get a lot better than what we think. Key advantages of going to Starlink: it's compact and lightweight for mobile deployment. It has high-speed internet, operates independently of the local infrastructure. You don't have to be close to a cell tower to get it to work. It works off the satellites. It works in mountainous and rural, and if it worked in Dane, I think we can probably get it to work most everywhere in the county. Affordable entry and operating costs for public safety. And other public safety organizations are doing this. It's not new. It's just we're a little behind. Actually, we were in some meetings and the governor actually recommended reviewing and looking at this to move forward with our communications and data problems. Some benefits that we foresee: reliable communications, improved responder coordination and communication in dead zones that we don't have now, faster response, reduced delays in rural and mountainous areas, improved field operations with on-site data access. There's a lot of websites and different things that you might have to use on scene that you could get access to. Disaster resilience, and we've been faced with a lot of disasters: flooding in Belfast, flooding in Dane, the hurricane that came through, which wiped out everything. So this will give us the ability to be able to communicate when we can. For the sheriff's office itself, and I have a slide for each entity that we're talking about. Deputies often face delays in accessing NCIC databases where they can run stuff in their vehicle to see if somebody's wanted or if there's outstanding warrants against them and so forth. CAD systems, GPS navigation, and field reporting tools due to inadequate mobile connectivity, especially in remote areas. Rescue Squad EMS personnel are increasingly required to transmit patient data such as 12-lead EKGs to hospitals in real time to support early cardiac care. Reliable internet access will allow real-time consultation with medical control, enabling EMS providers to establish and adjust treatment plans before arriving at the hospital. These capabilities can improve outcomes in time-critical situations such as STEMI, strokes, and trauma calls. For fire departments, firefighters rely heavily on electronic incident command systems, mapping tools, and hazard databases. Many of these systems require stable internet access. In wildland or structure fire response incident command teams need more connectivity to coordinate units, track resources, and share real-time situational data. Additionally, during extended incidents or mutual aid response, having reliable communication beyond two-way radios becomes essential. Due to our topography, radio service is frequently degraded or unavailable in key response zones. Starlink can provide a backup or augmentation for communication when current radio systems are impacted by terrain, weather, or equipment limitations.
What? 1104, I apologize. Your traffic was all broken up. Code between sun, off, open, clear.
That's an actual recording from dispatch of Captain McLaughlin being in the Dane area trying to talk to dispatch on his radio. That's real life. That's what we deal with daily, is that. And that was just to give you guys an example of what they're facing out there. You all know the limitations to mobile phone service, to cell service. You deal with it. You're here, you live here, you're in all the areas. I don't have to explain or talk to you about that. So we'll jump across a couple of slides here. This is the numbers. 14 units for the fire departments, 10 for the rescue squads, 4 for emergency management, and 43 for the sheriff's office. And that's including 1 for like the big blue disaster truck that you guys have seen, 1 for the mobile crime scene truck that we have. So they would have them mounted on those as well. There's a projected cost for the units for each agency. Like I said, Caleb has told me that he can get those about $350 per unit cheaper than what's displayed here. He has a source, and he's already gotten some for the PSA, I think, on that. He said he could give you more information on that as we move forward, but I think there'll be significant savings over what the numbers that we had here. And I didn't know that till I walked in tonight and he was talking to me before the meeting, or we'd have had them reflected differently in here. So I think we can get it much cheaper than what's displayed here.
One of the things I want to give you credit, and I talked to Sheriff Andy Saturday, had a conversation with him. You guys have been absolutely outstanding when it comes to putting all this together. Me being able to work with you on this, I guess my background in telecommunications kind of led to this. I was in the two-way radio business for years, and anytime you got to deal with the federal government or the FCC or the state, it really limits you on the amount of repeaters you can put in, the height of the tower. They've restricted it almost to the point where it makes it almost impossible for us to be able to fill the gaps. Through conversations with Sheriff Andy's Washington County, you did a fantastic job by working out agreements, co-locate agreements for Hidden Valley and for Southwest Virginia Community College. But to me, we can use the casino funds. This is not taxpayer dollars. We can use the casino funds, which is just stipulates that you got to use it for education or public safety to be able to meet this. When I've talked to surrounding counties that went to the STARS program, you're looking at about $7 million that they've invested, and now they're talking to me about this. What's going to happen, you know? And the thing about technology, and Tara probably can speak. Her husband's into technology and computers and all that. But when you get hooked up with a private company, they're going to continue to enhance the capabilities and capacity of this system. Right. You know, with the state and federal government, you know how that works. And there's just too many restrictions and too many things that's got to be out there. But I do appreciate Brian taking the lead on this. He has been fantastic. I'll let him go ahead and continue if you have any other, or if any other the fire department people, because I know I have brought it to all the fire department's attention to help try to fill in the gaps and the craters. So you're more protected. Our police are more protected. Everybody that we can find ways and elevate ourselves for this kind of protection, I think we need to do it.
There's some further slides about our radio system problems, and there's some pictures of what we're doing in the Belfast area to add the extra repeater at the college and how it's going to serve that area. We've talked with Sheriff Andis about adding a repeater on Brumley. As we've talked with MCA, which is the radio company that does everything for us, they're saying we can get 30 feet height on an antenna and about 14 to 30 watts of power, which is insulting. And that's the licensing like you're talking about. We tested Washington County's radio channel, and it worked fantastic in Moccasin and Daint and Gravel Lick and those places where we have limited service now. But their antenna's like at 200 feet, and there's several hundred watts of power that they're allotted because it's an old system. The caveat to that is they're switching to a UHF system from VHF. So somewhere in the future, their VHF channel may be out there lingering and not being used. So if we could get, like you said, a usage agreement, okay, that may be something would benefit us too going forward. It wouldn't cost a lot because it's just going to be there idling, basically. So that's something we could, I think their system's about a year from being up and running. But if that could work out, that may be beneficial to offset some of this as well. So some of these slides will show, we did a radio test with Sheriff Andis's permission. South 71 in Copper Creek, in Moccasin, in Daint in front of the post office, in St. Paul, up on Gravel Lick near Dinsmore Hill. That was two of our people talking to each other on their channel, and it worked fantastic. But we can't get licensed to use that same amount of power or same height, so it wouldn't work as good for us now. But maybe in a year or so, there may be some options there. So we think the Starlink project is probably a good alternative that would help us get communications, be able to communicate, talk to each other, use the cell phones, use the data terminals, and so forth. So it's kind of what we're hoping for. I'm not going to go over each of these slides individually because I know y'all don't want to listen to me for another half hour, but if you want to click through them, it kind of shows you the tests that they did. Bo Bice and Craig McLaughlin did these radio tests for us. Things worked really well. And we were hopeful that we could maybe get a similar license put in place, but that's not going to happen.
We need an act of redundancy. If we had a major storm that knocked out all the power and generators running out of electricity, one thing about Starlink, it still continues to work.
Yeah, it's going to work.
It's going to work for us, even if you had a tornado come through and knock out everything, and our towers got knocked down, Starlink would still work.
Still be there. Still be there.
Brian, are you telling me Starlinks will give us communication through 100% of the county?
Yes, with cell phones. Yeah,
With cell phones.
You can hook your phone to it through
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to send text messages, make phone calls and things like that, which we can't do a lot of places now.
No-brainer, isn't it? Yeah.
It would be. And I know you guys are faced with requests every time, but some of your biggest priorities are education and public safety. And this is a huge public safety request that would help all of us. And like I said, I'm not just asking for the sheriff's office, I'm asking for all of us, fire and rescue as well.
What is the bottom line on this?
It was in that slide. Initially, the first year was like 90,000, and it being 50 some a year after that just for the service, the data service. But we can get that much cheaper. Caleb says he can get the units for about 35,000 less, we think, than what's quoted in here, at least 25,000 less.
But your bottom line was $90,000.
To
Sounds
start
like a
with.
bargain anyway.
Yeah, but we think we can cut it down to 60 something. Yeah, to get it.
One of the things that on one of the Zoom calls we had, one of the guys said that like for the fire departments, we wouldn't be charged for their device until they go into use. Like they go into use or go into service at the time. Am I correct on that, or is it just a consistent?
My understanding from Starlink, if there's a disaster, we can call them and ask them to activate it under the disaster time frame, and there's no charge for service. The service that we have quoted here is putting 50 gigs on each unit monthly. So you have that much usage, and that's after the first year, it's $55,000 a year. But we can subtract 11,000 off of that for dropping the Verizon routers off the police cars. So that would get us in the 43, 44 a year to have data monthly. They could use them all the time.
Good deal.
So it sounds like a lot, but for what we're gaining, it's not a lot.
How quick can they activate a system like this?
Caleb, can you help me with that question?
Yesterday.
Caleb says he can install the devices and get them up and working.
71 will take some time, but I mean, it's not a hard setup. It takes at most an hour for each device, and I can do a couple at a time. So the setup won't be hard. It's getting everything in and how they want to mount it. Mounting it outside of the vehicle is better, but I have noticed with me and Chris Dye here both, you can put them inside the vehicle and just mount them to your dashboard, and they will still also work.
Mr. Chairman, I think we'd be crazy not to do this, you know.
I appreciate it.
I'm ready to make a motion if that would be appropriate, that we authorize Bryant to work with the county administrator and Caleb and whoever to go ahead and initiate this program. You can find the money, can't you, Alonzo?
No, if you have coverage over top of you, it won't work. You have to be where you can have clear sight of the sky. So there is a little restriction on that, yes. Yep.
Well, I'll make a motion, we authorize the county administrator to work with Bryant and whomever to go ahead and initiate this program as soon as possible.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? I'll start with Andrew.
Yes.
Yes, but I want to say, Chris Dye, I'm gonna tell you publicly that this man and the PSA gave us his Starlink during the flood to use during the dank recovery. And I don't know how many people was running on that system. They were Zooming, there were cell phones, they were texting, and the whole thing, and it never failed. And I want to say publicly, the Russell County PSA stepped up and really supported the community. So thank you publicly, Chris. And
Thank you,
yes,
Chris.
from Lou Wallace.
Yes.
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 And yes.
Thank you all.
You're on the right track.
Hurry. Thank you, Brian.
Mr. Chair, I have something for the county administrator. We had an overage on our casino funds, is that correct?
That is correct.
I thought you had mentioned that to me, and if we can use that overage over the estimated that we'd put in the budget for this.
Yeah, Mr. Eaton, when we've been working with these groups, we've been in and out of them. You actually appropriated additional funds into the casino because I had to come back and add it in. One of the things that y'all also got to realize is too, Buchanan County took the STARS program, which was over $9 million. Let's go fast. The MERS system that was quoted at us, which we looked at before, was $7 million. Am I right? $7 million.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, with today's technology, and that's just putting in these towers, and you have to maintain your own infrastructure. You can't keep up the pace of maintenance and cost and upbuild and technology the way Starlink can. You know, there's other companies that's coming in the pipeline behind Starlink, from Department of Defense and other places. You guys are sitting in the front row messing with IT. You probably know of a few names. These are coming in with the Department of Defense and the FBI, Department of Security, Department of Justice. And the last thing that we did with Starlink, when we were in Dane, we ran the 911 dispatch from a mobile in the back of the sheriff's vehicle from Dane.
It worked great. Randy Stinson loaned us one there.
Yeah, we borrowed
Rick
it.
Style loaned us one. Wes Lawson loaned us one, and they worked.
Yes.
Have you all used them while moving or just stationary?
That was stationary.
That was
But
stationary.
all the research we've been able to do, it works moving. Shouldn't be any
It's
problem.
not as great moving. I know that from experience. Obviously, you're gonna get feedback from buildings and such, but it's just like a satellite for like your direct TV satellite. If it has direct sky, if you can just see a sky, you normally will be fine. You'll have most deputies and whoever has it will have an app on their phone, and you can actually point the Starlink device to which satellite would get it the best data.
But one of the things I want to point out, when we talked with the Starlink individual, now they do communications in more large urban areas. The price that we may have gotten may be a different megahertz or outbuild than what is on the market for a normal consumer. The reason we did, when we had our meeting, he was driving through Europe. He was in Europe, driving through Europe when we had our conversation with Starlink, was he not?
He was, and we could talk perfectly fine with him.
Well, they've put some new satellites up in the atmosphere to actually follow the path of the unit instead of the unit following the path of the it. So he instructed us on those new satellites.
Yep.
And there's a lot of technological stuff to it that I don't know. I'm a cop. I'm not an IT person, but we saw it work, and I think it'd be beneficial for us, that's for sure. So, yes, ma'am, that's for sure.
Otherwise, we were looking at a great big
Large
price tag, it'd been the millions.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
Well, even the governor told me at our last event on the update, you all were there. I approached him. He said, "How far have you come on emergency disaster?" And I said, "Well, I'm working on a communications piece." And he said, "Have you thought about Starlink Mobile?" And that came from the governor of Virginia. So I said that pretty much shows that there's a lot more people looking at this type of technology than just, and I think, talking to the other counties, I think they're gonna go in this direction.
They are.
Because of the service agreement.
Yes, they are. I've got just a couple slides. I want to show you some stuff on the water rescue program. I know you guys have been very supportive of that. With the boats you purchased and the trailers and motors and floating Stokes baskets and different things. There was a training program that was conducted through Department of Fire Programs. It occurred in October. They trained at UVA-Wise in the pool, but the majority of the training was 3 days, which occurred at the Oxbow Lake in St. Paul. If you haven't been in Oxbow Lake in October, you haven't been cold, but they said it was very chilly. But we were able to get several people certified in surface water rescue at that point, which is the step to go on to the Swiftwater Rescue certification. We've got several people now that are certified in rope rescue and vertical rescue, which all these steps are leading this team to get registered through VDM as a Region 4 asset to do regional rescue work. There's some pictures in here of them in the water training in October, and I think some of those guys are still here that attended that program. So they learn how to get people out of flood water when they're drowning, when they're in the water, when they need rescued. And it's just some of the assets that you all have helped provide, put to work. So they're actually doing the training, they're getting the certifications. They want to do what you need when the events occur. So I want you to see that too, okay? Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support. And if you need anything from me, please let me know.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, new business. Approval of the minutes, consider approval of the minutes of the following meeting, Russell County Board of Supervisors, and unapproved minutes of October 6, 2025.
I need to
I'm
make
sorry,
a
Rebecca.
change. No, that's fine. I was just
Go
gonna
ahead,
tell you.
ma'am. I'm
We
sorry.
just need to make a change because it had myself and Ms. Wallace abstaining on something, and we did not. I went back and looked at the YouTube several times on the closure of a road. We did not abstain. It was, all of us voted yes, and you could plainly hear all of us vote yes.
Okay, thank you,
And
ma'am.
I think Rhonda's changed that part.
All right, we just need to make sure that's changed. It has been, Rhonda? Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Dye. So do I have a motion on the approval of the minutes with those changes?
I'll make that motion for you.
Thank you, Ms.
Second.
And I got a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Andrew?
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, now approval of paying the bills, expenditures. Consider approval of expenditures presented for payment.
Make a motion, we approve payment of the bills.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, any discussion? Seeing none, Andrew?
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Going on to committee appointments, we have the first one up, the Southwest Virginia Community College Advisory Board. I know Ms. Compton serves on our, on the Russell County School Board. She's done, what I've heard, we got, I don't know, hopefully everybody got their letters of recommendation from the college that they would like to have her reappointed, but I'll leave that up to the board.
Make a motion to reappoint Ms. Compton.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, we have next the Cumberland Plateau Economic Development, Raymond Harrison. Okay, all right.
I would like to make a motion to reappoint Raymond Eddie Harrison for the Cumberland Plateau Economic Development.
Okay. Have a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And yes. Thank you, Ms. Dye. Appalachia Juvenile Commission, Rhonda Lester. Anybody know Rhonda?
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Rhonda.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And yes. Congratulations, Rhonda. Cumberland Mountain Community Service Board, Pastor Aaron Feeser, he's done a fantastic job. I'd like to see him get reappointed if that's a possibility, but I'll leave it up to the board.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Aaron Feeser.
Thank you.
Second.
And we got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And yes. Thank you, Ms. Dye. Okay, before we go into citizens' comment, we're going to take just a bathroom break, about 5 minutes, if that's okay. Everybody in the bathroom, we got bathrooms over here. So, sorry it's taking so long, but we've had some great things going on here in the county.
Be careful.
I'm in the bathroom.
You keep up with Miss Nancy Albert.
All right.
That's not good.
Everybody in here's cold. What else we gonna talk about?
Okay, everybody. Hope everybody had an opportunity to go take a little bit of break here, but we'll get started right now back into the meeting with our public comment. If everybody would kind of get a seat and give attention to our public comment speakers. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody will have actual 3 minutes.
Hey, guys.
Okay, if
We're
everybody
starting the
would
meeting.
just kind of gather a seat and come on back in. We appreciate the congregation. Unless you're taking up an offering, RD, we want everybody to take an offering. And then, okay, the first one up is Michelle Vance.
Michelle Vance, Willow Springs. I'm in Andrews Division. I'm here for two reasons. First reason, I'm on the Tourism Advisory Committee. And since Shiloh has left us this past few months, we have been working very hard to try and keep up with everything since she's gone. The one reason I am here tonight, though, is I saw that the Tourism Advisory was on your agenda. And I know I've spoken to a few of you personally, but I wanted to make sure everyone heard this. As a board, we want to make sure that you all meet with us before you make any decisions. As a board, we are very involved, very, we really want to get things done, and we want to get more things done. But we don't want you to make any decisions without first coming to us and seeing what we have to say to you as well. So, because if you don't come to us, what are we there for? Basically is what I'm saying. Our next meeting is Thursday at 5:30 at Pat's Country Diner. So please come talk to us. Second thing I wanted to talk to you all about, as you know, I own a pawn shop and auction house over here on 19, and we do sell firearms. We purchase used firearms through a website called govdeals.com. Those websites are used by various counties, jurisdictions, and everything to sell not just guns and everything, but they also sell a myriad of things that they have within their counties. The one thing that I'm here for is the guns. Russell County does not do that. I know Judge Moore is the one who heads all that and wants to not sell our guns. But recently, we just went down to Georgia, very small town, smaller than ours. And my husband actually asked them when we were there about how much they were going to make off of the guns that they were selling for that year. And they're making about $60,000 a year that's going back into their sheriff's department. So that's a lot of money that we're missing out on. So basically what I'm here asking from you is to get your backup when I go and talk to Judge Moore to try and get Russell County to sell their guns. The guns are going to be there. Doesn't matter if, they've been used before, they haven't been used before. They're not going to stop making guns. Guns are always going to be around. And if we can make some money on it, look how much money you just saw. 911 was just up here talking about that Starlink. Selling the guns for 1 year could pay for that for us. So that's, that's a huge deal to me. And I'm not just doing, I'm not just saying it because I sell guns for a living. It's because, I love this county and I want to see this county make money off of what's sitting in a, wherever Bill has them hidden. In his basement. But no, but wherever he has them locked up, I want us to be able to make money on that. But that's basically what I wanted to say. But don't make any decisions on the tourism until you've had a chance to meet with us. I would really appreciate that. I know everybody else would.
Thank you. Okay, next on the list, Tammy Garrett. Tammy did. I think she's already spoke in regards to what she's referenced. Jennifer.
Jennifer Chumbley, Cleveland, Virginia. We meet again. All right, I'm going to fuss one more time about internet in Cleveland. We had a nice event for a fall festival, and it went really well. A lot of people showed up, but our vendors again struggle to have internet because they can't stay connected. The router, as far as I'm aware, has been there at least, I don't know, you'll have to look at this, Lonzo, but I think 2016, I was mayor when it was there. I mean, it's a little tiny router. I will donate a router if that's the problem. I'll buy one and donate one. I'll hook it up. I mean, let me in the back room. It's a plug and play. I've been in the back room before. I haven't.
Uh-oh, that was,
Hey,
Bill.
We turned the ball field lights on
Here
that
he
way.
comes right now.
How do you think we turned the ball field lights on for the fireworks? Anyway,
Thank you.
I would like to have internet. That would be very helpful to our vendors.
Well, just to speak right real quick, last time you had, I think, the merry-go-round and the slide and the internet. I sent the IT staff down there. Was it tested?
It was getting a speed of, with the old access points and the old router, it was getting a speed of 10 megabytes per second, which will not hold anything. So I went in, I personally replaced the routers and every single access point there, including adding them to the satellite system that we have there. And we were still getting 45 to 50 megabytes all the way up to the stage and over next to the bathroom area without anybody else on the internet. Now, the more people you get on the internet, the less it's going to be able to run. And most of these Wi-Fi systems, that's not business, can only run about 50 to 100 devices at a time. Yeah. But everything has been upgraded and is top tier now. So if it, as of what day? Yes, it was probably about a month to a month and a half ago.
Yeah. One of the things too on BVU over there,
I've got BVU next door.
So was it working?
It was not working at the festival, but
Okay.
my BVU is working now.
Oh, okay. That's what I was asking. Sometimes we don't know whether it's our system or the BVU.
It's definitely your system.
Okay.
What happened was you couldn't get a beacon on the router.
She was there.
Okay, we'll test it again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. RD?
I'm still R.D. Sneed, Lebanon, Virginia, and I'll be quick. It looks like we're having a real good meeting tonight. I think a lot of positive things are happening here. It's been kind of a pleasant meeting. Sometimes they're not too pleasant, and that's all right. We just work through all of them. But it looks to me like some things are gelling together. One of the things that I want to go back to for a second is your Starlink conversation. And I'm 100% in favor of it. That's exactly right. You're doing the right thing. I don't know if Bryant's here. I think Bill's still here. But I have a question. And it may be included. But in reading what we all know was the horrible tragedies in Texas and other places with those floods. And I don't know exactly how quick things happened in St. Louis, but things were fast. But it seems that poor community there in Texas had had a chance to get a massive siren system that gets up those hollers. Now, I know that's different terrain out through there than we have here. But we got hollers, and we got mountains, and we clearly have some communication problems currently with our cell system. So I just want to simply pose a question for you all to think about. Is a siren system something also that should be looked at?
Yeah, we're looking into it.
Good. That's great. Well, I applaud you for that.
Thank you, R.D.
And the last thing there's a song that says, I've got Georgia on my mind. Well, I've got Cleveland and Dane and St. Paul and Castlewood on my mind tonight. And about a year ago, I stood before you all and asked you to help with the self-service. And it seems we're getting there. Is that in Cleveland? Is that correct? We're getting there in Cleveland with your self-service, hopefully, right? Okay. All right, because we want it's important. And I want to say along that line, I would encourage the county to, you're going to be talking about tourism in the coming days and weeks and so forth. And what's got me to thinking about this is all the fun everybody seemed to have at the Halloween Main Street days and whatever you want to call them. The towns had fun. It was obvious. You could just see it on Facebook. Everybody had a good time. But that's because people work and they're built up with sleeves. And I want to encourage the board to make a concerted effort to increase the recreation and tourism assets and use in Cleveland, Dane, of course, St. Paul. We can tie into them, and Castlewood as we can with infrastructure. Thank you all.
Thank you, R.D. Okay, Ben Wilson, I think, at Solar. He's gone. David Ball, you're going.
I wrote down alcohol, but actually I want to talk about the Wi-Fi. So I think what we could do in the Cleveland Community Center is probably to install some outdoor wireless access points, because it seems like the further you get from the building, the weaker the signal is, to the extent that a few, probably 20, 50 feet away from the building, the Wi-Fi drops so low that the devices are disconnecting. Every vendor had trouble accepting digital payments. I don't carry cash, so there was a couple of people I was able to buy things from, and the rest of them I had to say sorry. But they have systems where you can connect the indoor one and the outdoor one together, and that they will set up a roaming type system where it'll quickly transfer from the furthest away access point that you're connected to the closest one nearby, and it'll keep your signal. And if you had say 2 or 3 of those outdoor and access points, you could walk around the grounds and probably keep a strong signal. I think that would be cool, and that would probably help. If people are walking around the track, they don't have to sort of stand next to the building to get that text message or whatever they're up to. And I think it would help our vendors a lot during events. I was there for the fall festival, and like I say, it was pretty weak signal. I'm not sure what the changes were, but if you think you've already fixed it, just go ahead and double check. Other than that, I think we need a Dane Fire Department soon, probably, just in case. And I don't know what you guys have in mind. And I didn't prepare any remarks, so I'm just gonna tell you guys good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Thank you, sir. Okay, that's the last one on my list. I'll move on. Constitutional officer reports and requests. Bill, do you have anything? Don't have anything? Next, the county attorney reports and requests.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah. So the first county attorney report I have is a proclamation that's been prepared to honor the life of Charlie Kirk, who, of course, was tragically killed September the 10th. So this proclamation just outlines who Charlie Kirk was, what he stood for, as far as freedom of speech, the basic principles, who he was as a person. So this proclamation, it's simple. Does it outline, and I'll have to rely on Mr. Lester here some, outlines his birthday, is that correct? His birthday as a day of memorial for Charlie Kirk in Russell County, which is October the 14th. So as written there, we just simply need a motion to approve that proclamation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
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 And at the discretion of the board, we move on to the next report. So the second report is for a hiring of a deputy registrar in the registrar's office. If we look at the portion there that Mr. Lester just highlighted, the code verbatim outlines that Russell County shall have a full-time deputy registrar. That's code section 24.2-112. There again would just simply need a motion to authorize the electoral board or any other means seen fit by the board. Of course, it's at the board's discretion, but my recommendation would be to have a motion to authorize the electoral board to hire that deputy registrar.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
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 And then the third county attorney report is dealing with tourism. So essentially, the county would have three options there to hire a employee that would fall under the county's guidance to be the tourism director, to hire someone contractually, essentially a part-time, and then, of course, finally to put the tourism department under the Chamber of Commerce's direction. So, of course, that's at the discretion of the board. Is there any sort of motion there to be made?
Mr. Chair, given that the tourism coordinator is the lead staff member responsible for the planning, development, implementation, and management of tourism-related activities, and I do have that in my packet, or I've got it in my hands, activities for Russell County, and recognizing the significant progress made in marketing our county and our region through the excellent work of the former tourism coordinator. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with hiring a full-time tourism coordinator for Russell County.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 And the next item I had was the Commonwealth Energy Partners. We've already had a motion to table that vote for next month. So then we'd move on to the fifth item under the county attorney reports, dealing with the fire service ordinances. So the fire services ordinance outlines what the responsibilities and the duties are of both fire departments and fire companies throughout the county. Of course, those are distinguishable. The fire companies deal with the ones out in the actual county. The fire departments are those entities within town limits, St. Paul, Lebanon, Honeacre. So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it outlines what their responsibilities were. I know there was a little bit of discussion on the requirements for training, specifically under EVOC. There's a clause in there to allow those departments to have 6 months to have their members fully trained. And my understanding is Mr. McCoy and the other members from the various fire departments, fire companies throughout the county have discussed this. Is there anything any of you guys would like to add?
No, everything kind of follows the state, so there is a portion in there that the state does mandate anything on there that we have to follow it as far as educational lines. Right now, they've got electric vehicle training, that's included in there. Other than that, he's hit the highlights of that. We did include firefighter one in there at what percentage? 25%. So all departments should be at 25%, at least at fire one level, which is your minimum level, and above. Other than that, it's pretty basic standard.
And this is something the fire chiefs have discussed?
Yes.
Okay.
Unanimous vote yes.
Okay, unanimous vote yes? Okay. So, based upon that, we just need a motion, and based off, of course, the public hearing that's already been heard and closed, a motion to approve or deny the fire services ordinance.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion.
Well, point of clarification, Mr. Breeding, motion for approval?
Yes, approve.
Okay.
So moved.
So moved to approve the ordinance as drafted.
Okay,
I was going to keep you on.
we have a motion. We got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
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 And yes.
And then we'd move on to perhaps the hot button issue for tonight, the prohibition on the sale of sale of beer and wine in the county. So of course, we've heard the various comments tonight, again, on the public hearing that has been open, discussed, and closed. So it simply repeals the archaic prohibition on the sale of Sunday alcohol for beer and wine. Is there a motion to repeal that ordinance?
I will make that motion gladly.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I abstain, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
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 And yes.
At what time? Immediately? Who made that motion? Mr. Breeding?
Immediately, yesterday.
Effective midnight.
Thank you.
And then the next item up is the machinery and tools tax for data centers. So essentially, we just need a motion to set that tax rate and to give the board some insight. Of course, it's ultimately the board's discretion to set that rate ever how they feel fit. But to give some insight as to what other localities throughout the Commonwealth have set theirs at. The Lonesome Pine Regional Industrial Facilities Authority, which is Lee, Scott, Wise, and the city of Norton and Dickinson County. They have set theirs at the lowest in the state at 24 cents on the $100. But then we look at places like Loudoun County, which is the data center leader of the world. Theirs is at $4.15. So, and then, we look next door at Tazewell County, and it appears theirs is not differentiated from a normal machinery and tools tax of $2 on the 100. So, of course, Russell County's normal machinery and tools tax rate is $1.95 on the 100. But if we look right next door, of course, Lonesome Pine RIFA has set theirs at 24 cents on the 100, lowest in the state, obviously very attractive to businesses. So, any motion from the board to set a tax rate on machinery and tools for data centers?
Is it, we
Can
set
we
the rate,
discuss this
or
little
is that just to approve,
No, it's to set the rate.
set the rate
Yep.
at 24 cents?
Well, if that's,
Oh, I'm just going off your recommendation.
So,
we
the
need-
Lonesome Pine, what areas does that cover? Wise, Scott, Lee?
yep, and Dickinson. Yep, Lee, Scott, Wise, Dickinson, and the city of Norton.
Where does Washington County and the other direction stand?
I do not have Washington County readily at hand.
You have ballpark, Lonzo.
Yeah,
Just
so let me
an
elaborate a
idea.
little. So when we have been in conversations, of course, with data centers, when you're competing with other counties, this is one of the performance agreements that you have to compete with to be able to bring them in. But you can't give away the county either. So based off the ones that we're looking at from medium to large data centers, what it would generate, 24 cents sounds minimal, it's a very small amount. But the ones that we're looking at, because what y'all got to remember is, and this is in conversations with the IDA, we have two of the largest energy sources in Southwest Virginia. We have Carbo City and we have Virginia City. So we have assets that no one else has, no other county in the state of Virginia has, and that includes Frederick all the way through Alexandria, Northern Virginia, that is screaming right now because the data centers are taking the load off of residential. They're driving the price up. Based off the capacity of these two big energy sources, there would be no impact to any residential. These solar units that you see going in would have no impact. It would still be residential as a community source. It would not have an impact on the grid to these other than serving the data centers because they eat an enormous amount of source. Now, if you that's at the pleasure of the Board of Supervisors, to make a long story short, the higher you set the rate, the more they're going to look at other regions. Does that make sense? So be very cautious in being competitive when you set these rates. Now, the recommendation as the IDA is to set it in alignment with our adjacent counties. That way we can be competitive with them on a dollar for dollar, place by place, infrastructure by infrastructure throughout the region, which we have two data sources. So if the board wanted, we could bring the IDA in next time to give us a little bit of elaboration on this and give us a little bit more of analysis, and we'll give y'all more counties on what they do from Northern Virginia, which has got the premium, which you've heard, $4. I would love to have $4. We could just do away with the tax altogether. So, but y'all need to be able to make a good, sound choice here.
I'd like
A
to
good,
have some
solid business.
Yeah, I'd like to have some more information on it, and I'd like to
And
look
Tyler
at
and I
the,
and
look
ID
at the
can do this.
analysis, what you need to look at. You know, you talk about these data centers making humongous amounts of money, but that's at $4.
It's at $4.
You know, so as you're dropping on down, it's, you know, plus some of the other areas don't have the power source that we have with
That is
Carvo in
competitive.
particular.
That is correct.
So I think you need to weigh one against the other and run some numbers on it, Alonzo.
So give us the opportunity to let myself and Tyler and the IDA come and speak at the next board.
I think that would be good, and I would like it if you all could get us the information, like Steve was talking about, the analysis and whatnot, as soon as possible. That way we can have time to really dive into it.
We got a lot
Before
of
the
stuff
next
that we
meeting.
can send, and right now, and I know the board members, y'all have been in this, you know, this is not something that's new. This is not something new. The board has been working on this. They know they were there during the, first of the year VACO meeting. They were working with and talking with these companies, and these are large companies. So if we're going to do it right, let's not do what I'm going to call another Northrop Grumman. So let's just get all of our facts and analysis.
Okay, let's just table
Present
it
to
to the
board.
next.
Okay, thank you.
So do we have an official motion to table
I'll
that?
make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Okay. And then we'd move on to the next item, which is the Honeacre Redbud House. That was approved for the county to prepare a deed, or the county attorney's office to prepare a deed to accept that property back at no consideration from April Moorfield and the Child Abuse Reporting and Enforcement Center of Southwest Virginia. That deed has been executed and completed. We just simply need a motion to accept the transfer of that property from the board.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Lee, now that house is that was originally to be a facility that April was going to.
That's correct.
It was part of the Redbud.
Shouldn't we transfer that over to the town of Honeacre and let them? They've got a community development block grant going right now, and I just seem not have another facility we're going to have to pay insurance and taxes and electricity on. So I'm just going to make a motion that we just go ahead and transfer that over to the town of Honeacre, and they can make it a part of their block grant.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Well, I'll give you a second for discussion.
Okay, discussion.
What we got in this house?
Zero.
Where'd it come from? Just for the public. I already
Okay.
know some of this, but just so,
Yeah, it came from the Redbud Association.
so they acquired it through a deed of gift, that's correct? And then we got it through them as a gift.
And the county gave it to this nonprofit for development. Well, due to their circumstances and whatever it was, they weren't able to develop it. So, of course, we asked for it to be returned to us if, that's part of the covenants. So, now you have it.
Well, I can kind of give you a little insight of what the town's working on through the Cumberland Plateau. They're doing a second phase of their downtown revitalization project, and this will be part of that. We're actually working with the school system. We have put in an application for a grant to build pickleball courts, tennis courts, and basketball courts. And what the school wants to do is, instead of having this placed at the park, they're wanting to have it placed at this particular location. The Honeacre High School kids do not have a tennis court. So as this is part of the downtown revitalization opportunity, it's going to clean up mitigate all the area there, which is a disaster. And it's going to give our kids and our citizens an opportunity to have a place to play. What the grant people have said is they didn't want us to place it at the park, which they already gave a $650,000 grant to build a new park. They would like to have it moved off-site to another new location for the application process. So the schools have actually committed to work with the town on this project, funding-wise and ever otherwise, to put up lighting and to help with the development and design of this opportunity. So that's what this is about.
So, Mr. Chair, I think that's noble, and I would like to be a part of saying yes to that transfer, because I think that is great for that community, and all of our communities need to be doing things like this. So if you've got the grant dollars to do it, and I'm sure they're through Department of Housing and Community Development, and I think that you'll do a wonderful job. So I'm calling for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you all so much.
Okay, and the final item I had on the county attorney's reports dealt with the forensic audit. The audit committee did meet, I guess it's 2-3 weeks ago on a Saturday. Those bids were opened. They were going through some more review right now. Obviously, Mr. Kaiser's not here. He's on that committee. But just to give an update on that, it's no board action needed tonight. But just to give an update, those bids or those RFP requests are being reviewed and will be brought back before the board for a selection. And Mr. Chairman, that would conclude the county attorney's reports for tonight.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. Appreciate everything you're doing. County Administrator reports and requests.
Thank you, Chairman. First on the county administrator reports is, of course, the road reporting system. I think there was only one that was on there for the board to review. Of course, the second one on the county administrator reports is the VDOT report. One of the first ones of the things that's on action, the consideration approval of the resolution, which will be on my action for abandonment of 0.1 miles of Route 721, which is a state park road. Just to give you an upgrade, the Department of Conservation and Recreation closed this 0.1 miles to the public years ago. The board has previously approved the publication of intent to abandon. We did that in September of this year, and the notice has been published in the local paper for the required time. The residency is not aware of any requests by adjacent property owners for any public hearing. So no one has filed any complaints. Also, take a look at the maintenance activities that are going on and the paving schedules and the maintenance schedules. Of course, we're coming up onto the winter months, so take a look at those. Next on the county administrator reports and request is county projects. The court services division has been completed. We're actually currently right now working on the animal shelters. Y'all can see the excavator that's sitting out there. We're working with DEQ right now in the town of Lebanon on what their requirements is, and we'll proceed on that. The fire department community center generators, they're all there. They're installed. The electricals there. Some of these we're waiting on the AEP to come in. So it's about a 7 to 7 out of the 14 right now. I will get it up and updated list on it. The rest is, of course, the library. We're still working on the progress on those. We've got to do bathrooms renovation. They still have this little small toilets in them. So that's how it tells you the age of some of the facilities. I apologize. Next on the county administrator reports, the request is, of course, the PSA reports for the Belfast Phase 3 generators, Tiller Trailer Park, and their projects. Board, please take a look at those. Next, on the we had a proclamation on the county administrator reports is Operation Green Light for the Veterans of 2025 proclamation. This is a proclamation that the board approved last time, and it actually this is neat. As a veteran, the residents of Russell County have great respect and admiration and the utmost gratitude for the most men and women who have selflessly served our country and community in the armed forces. So we're going to light up all the county buildings in green. We've already got the tents in the green, so during this period of time through November that we're going to be lighting these up in remembrance of the veterans. So anybody that was welcome, if they want to on their own house, light it up. We'll notify Bill as Sheriff Department what you're doing.
Don't light too much up, Lonzo. We have to pay the light bill on that.
That is true. So, next on the county administrator is the county administrator request. So back to the VDOT resolution to abandon the secondary system of state highways, a portion of 721, which is State Park Road. I need a motion for abandonment.
I'll make a motion to abandon State Park Road.
Second.
We've got a motion and a couple of seconds here. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Very good. Next is the, I got a disposal truck that's got to go up for surplus and sale. I need a motion for disposal.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Now, right behind it, as we sell one, we are purchasing another. So, of course, I'm asking for approval for a Russell County disposal truck that's in your packet, for approval of the Russell County disposal truck of 234,556 for a vehicle that will be purchased from the proceeds from the surplus of the sale.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Next on the county administrator request is as you've seen on the recovery court and projects, as you've seen with the community work program here tonight, there is a request for the Russell County court project. This is the opiate direct grant for $27,757. This is for recovery courts in the 29th Judicial Circuit in Southwest Virginia to enhance the continuum of care, ensure access to individuals' psychotherapy services and evidence-based gender therapy and family and couples counseling. This is, I need approval for $27,757 for OAA grants out of the Russell County OAA funds.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Next on the county administrator reports is the VACORP 2425 Workman's Compensation Final Audit. I need approval for the additional $25,951 that will be in the benefits section that after the audit for the increase in the VACORP Workman's Compensation, which deals with all the employees that's in your packet. I need approval for $25,951 for the extra workman's compensation.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Okay, you have a motion?
I'll second it.
Got a second? Any discussion?
What happens if we don't pay it?
You get cut off. You don't want to go down that road.
Okay.
But I won't go to jail, right?
No.
I'll call the vote.
All in favor?
Say
Yes.
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 Okay, the last one on county administrator reports is, of course, the Go Virginia Tourism Grant, which is a grant Virginia's.
Turkeys.
Oh, I did skip the turkeys. I apologize. That's the big one.
Now.
I did. I apologize. I got the food pantries and the employees. Well, I can work to you tomorrow.
No, you didn't.
Number 11, Russell County annual turkey donation for food pantries and employees. We have the total numbers of each one. We talked to all the food pantries and we got our total number of employees. This is approximately $15,000 for cost of both all entities and employees. Turkeys have went down.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What was your cost last year?
Our cost last year was.
Rough, it was fine.
Well, we spent about the same amount, but we got less turkeys. Because here's one of the things, thank you for reminding me, the SNAP program is having problems right now. So I have talked to the pastors in the area, and they anticipate, a 20 to 30% increase in their need. So they're the ones, the fours serve the major core, and they think that they can make it with a 20% increase over what year. So you're expending the same amount, but you're increasing the total turkeys to the residents by 20%.
Okay, ready for the vote?
Yes.
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 Now, the Go Virginia Tourism Grant vacation starts at the Virginia flagship, appropriation of $1,250. So I need approval for it.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Chairman, that concludes the county administrative reports and requests.
Sure, are you sure? Board
I'm
discussion
faster
and
than Tyler.
board discussion and reminders. I'll start out with Mr. Andrew.
I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Wallace.
No, I've not got anything, but thank you very much. Good meeting.
Yeah. Ms. Dye.
No, I don't have anything.
Mr. Brady.
I'm going to pass, but it was a great meeting.
Yeah.
We got a lot accomplished.
Ms. Dye.
No, I'm good tonight, thanks.
And I don't have anything either. We appreciate everybody coming. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank everybody for hanging with us.